everyone. We're coming together with our grief and desire for liberty and justice for all of us to hold and protect one another and hear from leaders about what organizations are calling us to do next in this time. We're going to get started with our program in just a moment. There are literally tens of thousands of you tuning into this live stream, and this call is being sponsored by hundreds of organizations around the country. If Donald Trump and his MAGA loyalists wanted us to come into this next phase of the struggle disoriented and without a plan, the sheer numbers of people here and the mobilizing power it represents says something different. We are committed to sharing information and practicing solidarity. Our ancestors walked the freedom road before us, and they did not give up despite the despair and the impossibilities of the conditions that they had to survive. Our presence is evidence of the success of their resistance and their liberatory work. Many did not have the luxury of giving up, and we don't have that luxury either. Again, I want to welcome all of you to this call tonight. My name is Ashley Woodard Henderson, and I'm with the Working Families Party. If you've been joining the mass calls that we've been organizing since April, you already know me. But if we're just meeting for the first time tonight, I want to welcome you. Like all of you, I desperately wish that we were gathering under different circumstances, but know that this call for many of us is going to be a balm, an opportunity to grieve and to refocus tonight. Over the last several months, these mass calls have been a chance for people in our movements to get together, to process both the emotions and the strategic dilemmas that this roller coaster of an election year has presented to us. We planned this call a long while back, knowing that we would need a rallying point to check in on what our next moves were going to be. The flow of this call, for folks that are familiar, is going to be similar to the others in that we're going to start getting emotionally grounded. We're going to feel our grief. We're going to feel our rage. We're going to feel our sadness, all the feeling. But we're also going to push ourselves to move into a clearer emotional space. This is essential because if we're not grounded, if we're caught in the swirl and the chaos, we're not going to be able to make good strategic decisions or to help those around us get grounded and stay clear about the work that is responsible to us ahead of us. Then after that, we'll do some political education about what this moment we find ourselves in means. We don't do this as a luxury. We do it as a strategic necessity because when we're aligned around the bigger strategy, we're able to take coordinated actions together. Then you're going to hear from some of the most trusted movement leaders in this country. They're going to share with you strategic insights and provide concrete calls to action for what you and your organizations, what you and your communities can do to get and stay in formation as we launch into this next phase of our organizing. Y'all, we've got live captioning for folks who need or want it. If you're tuning in on the live stream, welcome. If you're watching on YouTube, welcome. Say hey in the chat. If you're watching on Facebook, welcome. Do the same. If you're watching on Free Speech TV, welcome. And if you're watching the recording later, we love you. Thank you. And if you're tuning in through a space with a chat, feel free to say hey to one another. Be gracious. Show each other some love. And if you're on the internet and people are being disrespectful, stay focused on the good work that we're doing here together tonight. Love each other. Make sure we're amplifying the love that's being shared in these trying times. This call is about bringing us together, not splintering under the stress and chaos of these times. Y'all, nothing about this entire election has come easy. And now we're in the hardest part of all of it. Yet we stuck together best as we could through everything, even with the temptation of straining and fracturing under the tensions and contradictions of this election. Thousands, not really even millions of us held together. It's not been a journey without its bumps, but at every step of the way, when we could have backed away, when we could have gone to our corners and gossiped or openly fought each other with no win for anybody, we chose the path of principled struggle. Many of us came out the other end even clearer, more committed to the practice of unity and solidarity and an unwavering desire to be stronger together. Let me say that again, because in the pain of this loss and the anxiety of where we are, what we might feel coming in our bones. We may feel like what I just said was wrong. So let me just give it to you one more time, a little clearer. Our movements have an opportunity right now to be more clear, more unified, and stronger than before. Over the last year, we may have frayed around the edges, but our core has held together. So even though we're all arriving hurting a lot right now, let's also take a moment to appreciate what we did. When an election is said and done, it's super easy to count up our electoral wins and our losses on a tally sheet. But the work to prevent this fracturing, to hold our people and our movements together through the lowest of lows and the highest of highs this year, that should be on our tally sheet too. There's certainly more to do to heal what's been pulling us apart from one another, and we must visibilize the product of countless hours of invisible emotional labor. It is the product of hours of gritty determination, principled debate, and strategic clarity. When they write the histories of these moments, they rarely see this work and the people who do it. But I see you. I see you. I see the thousands of you on this call, and I know the vast majority of you left every single thing on the field for this election. I want to invite you, just for a second, to, in your mind's eye, see each other. Wherever you may be watching this live stream, I invite you to close your eyes for just a minute. I invite you to imagine the thousands of other movement organizers, the activists, strategists, the educators, the door knockers and phone callers, the emotional grounders and healers, and people who care deeply about the future of our people that are on this call tonight. Really see them. Realize that though we may be miles apart, though we may have different ideological beliefs and identities, we're all striving to build and belong in beloved community. Breathe that in. Take a deep breath in through your nose. Breathe in our unity. And then a deep breath out through your mouth. Breathe that out, the temptation to spend more time playing the blame game than executing the strategies and implementing the tactics to change our conditions. This call represents a wide cross-section of the United Front that's been organizing for many, many months, if not years, to block the authoritarian takeover of this country. Now, you may be tuning into this call as someone who's not even sure that elections are your thing, but you may have still been involved in this broad effort to defeat MAGA at the ballot box. You may be tuning in as someone obsessed with politics who's voted for Democrats your whole life. And you may have a hard time understanding why people just don't see it as clearly as you do, that we should support Democrats to move the country forward. You may be tuning in as someone who doesn't quite understand why people see the appeal of Trump or why people would be drawn to his MAGA politics. You're sitting with genuine curiosity or maybe even frustration and anger. And maybe, just maybe, you're someone who does understand the appeal of Trump because at one time you supported him too. Or maybe people you love and care about support or supported him. Or maybe you're a leftist who feels deep frustration at the many calls to move the Democrats to the center at the expense of targeted and marginalized communities, at the expense of suffering people. And in normal times, it's pretty safe to say that most of us on this call would have never chosen to be part of a Cheney to Chomsky United Front to do anything, but here we are. And everyone, every single one of you, every single one of us is welcome in this space tonight. We are here because none of us alone has the power to defeat the wickedness that has taken hold of our country. And none of us alone is capable of surviving on our own in the face of this threat to democracy. Since we're all together, since we're all united to defend our country and each other, we are also going to talk about what it's going to take to make sure that we're never in this situation ever again. This is the real talk that we will not shy away from, because none of what we are up against right now happens in a vacuum. And together, we need to have the courage to face those hard truths, just like we have had the courage to stand together to block this authoritarian threat. So, yeah, the outcome of this election is incredibly painful. And our assignment right now is to feel our feelings, to get grounded, to move strategically, to help others do the same. Our job is not to believe or spread rumors, but to lean into our organizations, because our organization is our strength. We need to fill our bodies, wholly supported by this planet, this incredible earth that sustains us. Before we dive into what the conditions are right now, can we just take a moment to feel rooted, to feel grounded, to feel supported, firmly planted on the ground? Wherever you are, feel the gentle pressure of the floor holding us up, connected to this incredible earth. We're all in this together, y'all. I'm ready. I know you're ready. We have everything we need in our bones. Let's do this. I want you to take one more deep breath in through your nose, out through your mouth, while I remind you that if this call is useful to you, you can join us back here for future calls. RSVP now as we prepare to move towards January's inauguration together. Go to the Mobilize link that you can see on your screen, www.mobilize.us /working families/event/342586. Now we're going to get into a conversation about the conditions, where we stand. I'm going to bring up two incredible movement leaders, folks that are literally taking charge in this moment where there's so much chaos and confusion. You're going to hear some clarity about where we stand right now and what must be done. I'm going to bring up the incredible executive director of Move On. Ronna, come on in the room. And I'm going to bring up Leah Greenberg, the co-founder and co-executive director of Indivisible. Y'all come on up. If you are in a place where you can give a chat, show some love to our folks.
Oh, hello.
Folks, welcome, welcome. Rana, get us started. Tell me what's going on. Where do we stand, and what's the call to action here?
Yeah, thank you, Ash. And hi, Leah. And hi, everyone. I am so grateful for people taking time to be here together tonight. Let's be honest. None of us want to be having this call that we're having right here. And yet this is where we are. We have to accept the reality of where we are, and we got to move forward. So I want to remind us, all the emotions that Ash talked about are real. And I want to remind us that this right here, coming together in community, is how we get through. It's how we will take all that we're feeling and we will transform those feelings into meaningful action. It's how we will begin to pick ourselves up and get ready to fight for what we believe in once again, because we're not going nowhere. We are not going nowhere. And the one feeling of all those that Ash went through, the one feeling we cannot allow ourselves to sit in is hopelessness. And I know for some folks on the call, maybe that's a tall order right now to ask you to keep hope alive, but hope is the fuel we need. Hope that there are still more people who believe in love and peace over hate and divisiveness. Hope that there are still people out there who will fight to protect and care for people they don't even know. Most of you on this call today, I don't know, but I know that we're going to have each other's back. Hope that we can and we will prevail. Super essential. And yet we know hope alone is not enough. Hope is not a strategy. And we'll talk, I want to say a bit more about strategy momentarily, but I wanted to just start by reminding us that we absolutely cannot allow ourselves to give up, because it is all worth fighting for. Everything we've been doing, everything you've been doing in your lives, it's worth fighting for. Our families, our freedoms, our healthcare, our climate, the rule of law, so much that we're going to talk about here tonight. It's all worth it. And let's be honest, you're not giving up. You're here tonight, and I'm not either. It's just not who we are. We may be tired, we may be pissed. I'm personally enraged, but we are not going anywhere. And our work didn't end when the polls closed on election night, and our work didn't end when we learned the outcome of the election the next morning, and it will not end here tonight. And remember that Donald Trump and MAGA Republicans are counting on us to give up and to let them just take over this country. And last time I checked, more than 66 million people voted against their hate-filled agenda, and we're not going to let them run away with our freedoms and our democracy. That's not who we are. So just wanted to start there. So in this moment, we can feel the feelings, but soon we are going to need to raise our collective voices. We're going to need to not be complacent. We cannot be silent. We cannot give into fear and hopelessness. History has shown us that with each setback, our fight for progress comes back stronger, louder, and more effective. So what are we going to do? Which is probably something you're also interested in hearing about. I want to talk a little bit about what we're going to do. And first, I want to talk a little bit about in the next few months, and then I'll share a bit about the next several years. So in the next few months, first, our most immediate imperative is to be together, is to be there for one another. Our greatest threat in this moment is not MAGA. It is not Trump. It is not Elon Musk. Our greatest threat in this moment is despair. And we know people out there right now, I'm sure everyone here on this call knows people right now who are struggling. They're grappling with what has happened. All of us are as well. We can't allow one another to be alone. Our fear, our anger, our sorrow, our confusion, it must be given space. We must come together and take care of one another. Super critically important step number one. So what does that mean for the immediate next several days, several weeks? What we are inviting folks to do on this call is to organize your own community neighborhood gatherings. Bring your people together to process, reconnect, and scheme strategically about the ways we can protect one another, protect our democracy, our country as we move forward. Bring your family members if you want to. Bring your friends, your neighbors. Bring people together. On the site you're watching this right now, wearefightingfor.org, you can scroll down and there's a place where you can sign up to host one of these in your community. And we're going to make it super easy for you. But if you can be that connection point for others who are feeling how you feel right now, that is an incredible amount of power and agency that you can exercise to actually help basically light a fire under a movement that we need to spark for years to come. So sign up there. When you do, you'll get a toolkit. You'll get the support you need. There are trainings. We're making it very easy for folks. We want folks to bring together folks in their community between now and Thanksgiving or after. And then let us not forget that as Trump takes office, he's going to shed this mantle of change and become the candidate of a corrupt and dysfunctional administration with a deeply unpopular agenda. We know their agenda is massively unpopular. So what we're doing in the next few months is we are going to prepare now to leverage the inevitable backlash to land a meaningful blow to Trump's Project 2025 within the first 100 days. Because we don't just want to stop bad things from happening, which in and of itself substantively, being able to do that is important. But also within the first 100 days, we want to remind us and the country that we do have agency, we do have power, and when we exercise it, we can make an impact. So that is the immediate few months. Then I want to talk about the next several years, because unfortunately, he's going to be in office for 4 years. So we have to strategically prepare to defy the MAGA agenda. And Trump would like us to believe that our power was evaporated in a single night. And that is simply not true. Look around us. I think we have over 100,000 people RSVP'd for this call tonight. So we need a long game, not just a short game. We need a long game. We have one. We offer it with humility. But many of us have been strategizing for over a year now. And to be successful, our big ecosystem, the big tent of volunteers, activists, leaders, civil society institutions, we all must work together to apply an interlocking set of strategic approaches designed to do 4 things. So number 1, block. We want to do what's necessary to protect and shield things so that we can ensure a small d democratic transition in 2028. So what do I mean? We want to protect democratic functions, communities under threat, and critical civil society institutions, the infrastructure that we need in order to ensure a democratic transition in 2028. We also want to protect and shield the coalition that we need in order to win back power in elections. So we have to seek to rebuild and fortify the majoritarian pro-democracy coalition we need to win back electoral power. On Tuesday, we lost a meaningful action of the anti-MAGA coalition, and that's a bitter pill to swallow. It's also not a permanent reality, but we're going to need to do some work to analyze how it happened and build and fortify a majoritarian coalition we need to regain power back once again. And that is the work in front of us. So that is the work of blocking. Second, break. We need to weaken the MAGA's political strength and their pillars of support. So there are a set of strategies that will be driving in that area. Third, bridge. We need to offer a permission structure for defectors from the MAGA coalition to move into our pro-democracy tent. How do we make that welcome and not hostile for them to do that? We've already seen some defectors. We need even more. And last but not least, build. We need to build our power and advance our ability to deliver transformational change and move forward. So how do we build power and support and infrastructure around our vision for what a multiracial democracy that works for all of us can actually look like? How does that thrive? And how do we make sure there are pillars of support all around that vision? So that's the long game arc. And it's very top line, but we wanted to share it with you. And I won't lie to you. We've got a long road ahead of us, but we are not on this journey alone. We're here together, and this is just the beginning. Our task over the next 4 years will be to harness every ounce of power we have and to use the institutions, levers, and the tactics available to us. And we are staying in this fight because we are worth fighting for. The people we love are worth fighting for. What we believe in and want are always worth fighting for. And when we do, we are going to win back power in the House and Senate with the biggest possible coalition. And we will oust the MAGA movement out of power and build something better, because nothing good in this world happens by just lying down and letting other people walk over you. It happens because we put in the work. So that's our plan. Now we need each other to make it happen. And you're here tonight because I know you know this isn't the end. So let's get to work. Back to you, Ash.
Y'all heard our sister just now. There is a plan, and we need to get started moving on it. We got to block and build. We got to bridge and break and do all the things. In a little while, we're going to do some political education on what we mean by all that to go a little deeper. So just hang around. But here's what you can do right now. Many of you might be watching on this website, but if you haven't, and you're streaming on Free Speech TV or any of the other places, there's a website at the bottom of your screen. On that web page, you can get plugged in right now. When you go there, you can sign up to show interest in hosting a We Are Worth Fighting For community gathering. So if you aren't already there, I want you to go to www.weareworthfightingfor.org. Again, www.weareworthfightingfor.org. At the top of that page, you can indicate interest and you'll receive follow-up information on trainings and other resources. Signing up on the website doesn't commit you to hosting a meeting, but it does get you on the list to find out about those trainings so that you might be able to host your own. The first training, in fact, is tomorrow at 2 p.m. Eastern, y'all. So go sign up for it. Sign up for it right now. And you can also find out about meetings that are going on for many of our organizations that you're going to see on this call. So you can actually get plugged in directly with each of them. Go to the website that you see on your screen and get plugged in. I'm also getting texts that folks are trying to find where to watch. So if you're watching right now, I need you to spread the word that folks can see it on the website. You can go to weareworthfightingfor.org. Or you can watch it on WFP's YouTube channel. You can watch it on WFP, the Working Families Party Facebook page. You can see it on Free Speech TV. I need y'all to text the homies. I need you to tweet it out. Well, actually, I think we're probably boycotting Twitter because of Elon Musk. We're no fan of the billionaires. So actually, let's do it on Facebook and IG and Threads and all the other ways that you get a hold of your people. Make sure that all of the hundreds of thousands of people that have signed up for this call get to watch it tonight. Let's get our folks here so that we can get this good learning, so that we can get this good grounding, so that we can get these good calls to action from our folks. Next, I want to bring up my sister in the movement, co-founder and co-executive director of Indivisible, Leah Greenberg. Welcome. Again, tell us what's going on and what we can do about it.
Absolutely. Well, thank you, Ashley. It is so good to be here with this extraordinary group of leaders, with everyone who is watching. For folks who are seeing me for the first time, I'm the co-executive director of Indivisible. We support local indivisible groups all over the country organizing to protect our democracy. And whether you have been in this work for years or whether you are brand new to this fight, you are welcome and you are needed. So I'm going to talk about how we got here and where we go from here. And I want to say, I think it's normal to talk when we after an election loss, to go into questions about pretty micro campaign decisions, right? Like the messaging and the strategy. And there are important conversations to have there. But in a loss of this nature, I also think we got to pull the lens wider. We've got to ask ourselves, why were we in the position of running against Donald Trump in the first place? Why 3.5 years after he launched a violent coup, was he still a candidate for office instead of being prosecuted? And we had a window. We had a window briefly back in 2021 when we could have prioritized. We could have prioritized prosecuting. We could have prioritized convicting him, making sure he couldn't run for office. That didn't happen. Folks moved on, turned the page. Trump faded into the background. The bright lines that we drew to create that 2020 anti-authoritarian huge coalition, those started to collapse. And the ultra-rich and the business class, folks who had previously felt like they had to hide their support for Trump, Musk, Bezos, Jamie Dimon, these folks went back to choosing lower taxes over our democracy. Meanwhile, at the popular level, we've been fighting an uphill battle to keep that coalition together. We know inflation and the post-COVID period has hit folks incredibly hard around this country. That has had political effects globally. Everywhere in the world, we have seen deep, wide frustration with governing parties. Literally every incumbent party who has presided over the rise of inflation has lost vote share in the next election. So it's a global phenomenon. And all of this further exacerbated, fractured our coalition over disastrous policies on Israel-Palestine. And meanwhile, through all this, all of our hostile, fragmented, increasingly sinister media environment in places controlled by those same billionaires, as you note, further fueled discontent, further spread disinformation and misinformation. And so when President Biden stepped back, Kamala Harris took over a campaign that was deep in the hole, she had an incredibly short window of time to reverse that trend, and it was too deep a hole to dig out of. And I think we've got to be honest. The tactics and the factors here extend beyond any single messaging or strategy decision. And what we're not going to do tonight is settle for cynical blame game attacks on any demographic group based on notoriously unreliable exit poll data. What's clear is Trump was able to capitalize on all these factors, right? The help of his billionaire allies to brand himself for enough voters as the candidate of change, as Rana said. And we lost people either to voting for him or to not voting at all. People who were frustrated or alienated or felt like democracy wasn't delivering results in their lives. We were not able to convince, and this is hard, we weren't able to convince enough people that the threat of Trump or the promise of Harris outweighed their frustration with the status quo. But I want to be very, very clear. The fate of American democracy, it is not going to be decided by a single election. We lost this battle, but we are going to win the next one because Donald Trump has nothing to offer beyond chaos, cruelty, and corruption. He could convince enough people that he was the candidate of change this time. He pulled in those folks who were frustrated and alienated, but that doesn't mean there's a mandate for fascism, for right-wing extremism, for corruption, for taking your health care, for abortion bans. This is the classic trick of fascists. They convince you to give up your own power. They try to convince you that fighting back is hopeless. He wants us to think that because he won one election, he gets to do whatever he wants. He is not counting on us. Our task is to fight back. We're not going to give an inch. When they start their assault on our communities, on our democracy, on our family, we know they're going to come for it. We know they're going to overreach. As they begin that assault, we'll be there fighting back. We'll be there to expose them. We'll build the bigger, stronger coalition that we need to stop MAGA once and for all. Remember, They want us to surrender our power. They want us to turn inward, to throw each other under the bus. And we're going to respond by fighting back. And we're going to do it together. That starts here. That starts on this call. That starts in the groups that you bring together, the communities that you create, where we recognize and we feel our own power, where we connect with each other. We have these conversations where we process, where we move forward, we hold each other up, and we do it together, because that is what we are going to do for the next 4 years. We are going to fight back together.
Thank you so much. Y'all show some love for Leah. Thank you so much for being here. Next, we're going to hear from Lisa Gilbert, the co-president of Public Citizen. Lisa, come on in. Tell me, what time is it on the clock of the United States, and what is Public Citizen doing about it?
Thanks, Ashley. Well, first, I just want to say how much I appreciate being in community with all of you tonight, joining a call with so many incredible leaders. It's been a really hard couple of days, and I know we will need this movement family more than ever going forward. So just wanted to start out with appreciation for this space as we contemplate all the work ahead. As Ashley said, I'm Lisa Gilbert, co-president of Public Citizen. Public Citizen is a multi-issue organization. We're membership-based, and we have a focus on taking on corporate power. And one core topic for us has always been fighting to improve and defend democracy. And of course, as we all know, some of the biggest threats now barreling at us with a second Trump term are those to our democracy. The first Trump administration was marked by countless abuses of power, shredding the rights of communities across America, trampling on the Constitution, and obstructing Congress again and again. Folks probably remember many of the specific abuses from last time, although some of it almost feels quaint now. But Trump fired Jim Comey, his FBI director, for not being sufficiently loyal. He obstructed and undermined the Mueller investigation into Russia's attempts to disrupt the 2016 election. He engaged in extensive unethical profiteering in the services of his own business, including abuse of the emoluments clause of the Constitution. He allowed grifters to use their business connections to him to make money lobbying on the pandemic. And there is so much more, like, of course, inciting an insurrection and refusing to accept the peaceful transfer of power. We know that the next 4 years will be a return to these kinds of behaviors. We know it's coming. It was telegraphed in his noxious campaign in Project 2025 and in the actions I just mentioned, in the actions of the first term. He and his advisors have publicly discussed hundreds of further actions that directly threaten democracy, the rule of law, as well as our security. So we need to prepare to push back. And the good news is we can win these types of fights. We did win these types of fights in the first term. We were effective at pushing back when specific abuses occurred, but it took all of us, unity and attention to detail, but we were able to put wins on the board. So, for example, we highlighted conflicts of interest of cabinet nominees. Our collective community was able to fight back and cause the resignation of Scott Pruitt, the head of the EPA. It was a testament to whistleblowers, to the vigorous use of the Freedom of Information Act by outside groups, and by members of the public pushing for the rule of law. As a community, we did this over and over. We helped drive out 3 cabinet secretaries from office last time. And we can do that kind of thing again. Public Citizen co-hosts a network called the Not Above the Law Coalition, which many of the organizations that you all belong to are a part of. And with this group, many of us are gearing up to, again, expose Trump's personal and family conflicts of interest, to highlight ethical breaches by cabinet nominees to defeat as many as possible, to choose strategic moments to mobilize when we see the authoritarian actions that we know are coming, and to FOIA and sue the administration to obtain documents and block all manner of illegal actions. And again, we can win victories against Trump in service of democracy. So before I stop and hand it back to Ashley, I just want to pause and highlight the fact that Joe Biden is still president until January 20th at noon. And one thing that the Biden administration can do to help us in our upcoming fight is pursue all available executive actions to safeguard the long-term health of our democracy. He can prioritize actions that will protect vulnerable individuals and communities who we know will be targeted by the Trump administration. He can protect career civil servants and government institutions that serve the people of the United States, and he can advance national security actions that will protect the public. Some folks have started calling this time period, these 3 months, YOLO Joe, or You Only Live Once Joe. Credit to our friends at the Center for American Progress and ACLU for this name, and for thinking through what actions the administration can take in these months to protect democracy before Trump comes in. So to help this effort, we're encouraging everyone on this call to sign a petition, making this ask to Biden and his team. Stay tuned for a link to this to participants after this call, and also you'll find it in the chat. Our friends at MoveOn are hosting the petition. I'll just say it out loud at moveon.org/YOLO Joe. So with that, I just want to thank everyone again for being here tonight. I personally feel better when I think about the team and the tools that we are bringing to this battle. When I think about all of you, we will win specific battles to protect democracy, to discredit their personnel, and to defend our country. So thanks.
Lisa, thank you so much for giving us a concrete call to action. Thank you for the work of Public Citizen and for reminding us it ain't even over yet. Y'all make sure that you go to moveon.org/YOLO Joe and tell him we expect him to put down some protections before he leaves that office. Thank you so much, Lisa. Now it is my greatest honor to bring in to many of you someone who you know. She's a movement elder, a auntie to many of us. I want to bring a really incredible First Nations leader, Judith LeBlanc, on the stage. Y'all can already see that we got the People's Champion Representative Jayapal on the call today, and she's going to be joining us shortly. I'm so excited for you all to hear from her. We thought it important that we bring in both some elected People's Champions to talk about what this moment means to their bases, to working people from all over the country. And we wanted to make sure that we had movement elders here to talk to us. So the next speaker that you will hear from is going to be our incredible movement auntie, Judith LeBlanc. And then we will be tossing it to Representative Jayapal. Auntie, take us away.
I am so heartened to be with all of you. I am on my way. I just left the Crow Reservation in Montana. I'm actually standing in a breezeway in the Denver airport because of a snowstorm, and many are asking for directions to different gates. And so if I get interrupted, it's because I look like a flight attendant. I was on the Crow Reservation for the last week working with 24 moccasins on the ground. Last night, we gathered for buffalo steaks, buffalo burgers. We put our tobacco down on the ground in prayer. We ate good. And the first thing we talked about was the fact that we did good, that there were over 4,000 people who voted on the Crow Reservation in Montana. We talked to nearly 2,000 people in the last 2 months, registered people to vote, drove them to the polls. And what the 24 moccasins on the ground wanted to talk about, what are we going to do next time? What are we going to do next? What are we going to do next time? We're going to go to other reservations, because when they looked at the map, this red Montana, there was one blue spot. Look it up. Crow Reservation. Crow Reservation. I want to bring that up to say that elections are a tactic. Elections are a tactic. They do not solve our problems. The elections create the conditions under which we will continue to organize and build our base. Our strategy is determined by the time continuum. The past and the future only come together one place. In the present, we know that to be true. Our ancestors proved that. We have a responsibility for our descendants. And I want to say that many of you, I know you. Many of you, I've worked with you. And the truth is that we've been in a magic movement moment together at different periods of time. We interrupted the narrative. Black Lives Matter interrupted the narrative. Standing Rock interrupted the narrative of who we are in the 21st century. But you know what? We did not change the narrative. We interrupted it, and then we organized the hell out of it and had the first Native Secretary of the Interior. We did that. We stopped the KXL pipeline. We, on this call, did that. We're protecting sacred sites. The Biden administration has taken steps, but we did that. We organized our nations. And so I say that to say is that We are on the rise. It may not feel like it, but the relationships that we all built, the relationships with the 2,000 people on Crow, are there to stay. They're there to nourish. They are there to be watered, and they are there to be mobilized and educated about how we face the challenges ahead. I want to say we've talked about with a number of Native groups in the last 2 days, 3 things. Number one, we must honor our work. We must lift up all the people on the ground who are preparing to fight the deportations, who are ready and willing to step up and step into the political moment. But we have to cherish what we've done together in the last 4 years. The last 4 years. Secondly, we have to come to grips with the fact and study what happened on the ground, to use practice-based evidence. The New York Times and the NBC said the Indians swerved to the right and voted Republican. We have to take our experience and interrupt the narrative, because where we organize, we moved people. We are not leading the majorities yet, although majorities in this country agree with us about the need for action on climate change, about the need for economic security, about the need for women to have control over their bodies. They agree with us, but they voted a different way at the top of the ticket. So I want to remind us of that, because if we get a barricade mentality and we think we must defend, we're going to be on the back foot. We must walk in balance, as the Navajos say. Walk in beauty, understand 360 degrees, where we're going, but where we came from. We also have had discussions about violence, the threat of violence. Violence doesn't solve political problems. It doesn't. It didn't in Iraq. It doesn't here on the streets of our cities or on our reservations. How do we walk in beauty? That is what we need to explore together. And I want to end by saying that we're going to bring it to Washington. We're going to bring it to the Biden administration. We're going to bring it because right now we have a lame duck session. I still don't have directions for all those who want them here in the Denver airport. We're going to bring it. You know why? Because there are urgent issues in the lame duck session that we have to fight for and organize around. And if we don't take action and keep our people moving, we will lose them. So I just want to say, I am ready and I'm steady. You know why? Organizing is our medicine. Organizing our people, building on the relationships that we have been growing for years. I love you.
Let's see. We love you. Travel safe. We're sending love and putting prayers up for your safe travels to your destination. Thank you so much. I just want to remind you, Auntie gave us 3 marching orders. She said we have to honor and cherish our work. We got to come to grips with and study what happened on the ground. Remember that the people are with us. And when we organize, we move people. And that it's time for us to walk in beauty. And we got to bring it, that our work is not over. I want to tell y'all that there are already over 1,300 people signed up saying that they're interested in hosting community meetings. Thank you so much for doing so. We want you to make sure that you're continuing to push it out. Go to www.weareworthfightingfor.org and express your interest in getting follow-up information and getting trainings and getting resources to host these incredible community gatherings in our communities. Judith LeBlanc, we love you. We love you so much. We're gonna keep it pushing, y'all. The next speaker that you are gonna hear from, we already hinted at. You might have even seen her beautiful face. We get to bring up somebody who's not just talking about it, but being about it in the belly of the beast. I get to introduce to some and bring back to others an incredible people's champion, the honorable representative, Jayapal. Please come on in the room. We love you. Thank you so much for being here with us tonight.
Thank you so much, Lee. And it's so wonderful to follow the incredible Judith. And also Rana, Leah, Maurice, Lisa, all of the movement leaders in the 100 progressive organizations who have just been working so tirelessly and successfully to build our movement power. I want to start with gratitude and with love to everyone on this call, and to those who might listen later. Thank you for leaving nothing on the table. Thank you for continuing to build our movement, for building power for poor and working people, for standing up to the rich and powerful, for standing up for peace, democracy, and humanity. Now, I know it's a tough time. I can tell you I'm here in Washington State at home, and it feels really jarring because actually here in our state, we had a great election night. We actually became even bluer, winning just about everything that was on the ballot. But whether you're in a state that won or a state that lost a lot, I just want you to know that this is the movement that has a space for you for the long term. And let's just be clear that the moment is particularly devastating for so many who now fear for their safety, whether they're immigrants, trans, a member of so many of the other marginalized communities that have been relentlessly targeted by Donald Trump, and even targeted sometimes by conservative Democrats who are just quick to jump in and blame the most vulnerable instead of just looking at themselves at what happened. So I just want everybody to give themselves permission to check in with yourself, your friends, your neighbors, accept and give support so that everyone knows that we're in this together. No one is alone. And never forget that when your heart breaks, that is when it is most open. So let's try to preserve that openness, as difficult as it is. Don't try to move too quickly either. Let your tears flow for your fears, your dashed hopes, your anger, your frustration. It is okay. That is actually the first step for all of us, just to acknowledge the grief and sit with it and allow it to flow out of our bodies, because that will help make space for the inspiration and the resolve to flow in. The second piece, we can only really start analyzing. This is my second A, acknowledge is the first one, analyze is the second one. What happened? And that analysis is really essential. The blame game, you've seen it. It's already started with a lot of cheap shots at our progressive movement. And it's easy to finger point, even for us, but we need to resist it. I imagine we share a lot of theories about this election and what led us here, but I think we actually need to look at the data. We need to not just exit polls that are coming out, but actual data. We need to test our own theories, and we need to approach this moment with humility and introspection and understand what strategies did work, what didn't work, what barriers are in the way, and how do we break them down. And to me, that's the way that we get to the third step of acting. And these are interchangeable. It's not like it all happens linearly. You go back and forth between these things. But the third step of acting is to rebuild what has been for years an increasingly fragile coalition into something that is sustainable and lasting, that brings power to working people. What I do know is that the Democratic Party was not able to clearly articulate to enough voters what we would do to make their lives materially better. Where Biden won the majority of voters earning under 100,000 in 2020, Democrats lost those voters in 2024. Where Trump won voters earning more than 100,000 in 2020, Harris won those in 2024. At the same time, voters went directly to the ballot to vote in 3 Trump states for raising the minimum wage, in 1 for paid sick leave, and in 4 Trump states for abortion access. It would have been 5 if Florida had just required a simple majority. Too many Americans just don't believe that the system works for them, and they're not wrong. Republicans have defunded and attacked government, and too often people in power haven't always used that power when they had it. And that goes back a ways. That's not just this election. That goes back to trade. It goes back to not passing minimum wage or union organizing when we could have. And even though Donald Trump is a billionaire who surrounds himself with billionaires, voters saw him as someone who was willing to buck the system instead of keeping the same system that doesn't serve them in place. And there's lots of other things, communications channels, the money, but it isn't as easy as saying that we'll build a diverse coalition of Black, Brown, Indigenous young people, and they'll all be with us. We actually have to earn their votes, and we're losing people because we're not earning their votes. And I think this group of people has been doing exactly that, earning the votes work on the ground, despite all the barriers that are out there. So what the Democratic Party is going to have to decide is, what do we stand for? We need to clearly stand up for our principles. We need to respond to the urgency of people's economic concerns, and we need to offer a real contrast to the Republican Party. Even now, there are already pundits and some of my colleagues in Congress who want to push to the center and become Trump light instead of articulating the vision of what we stand for on our own terms, informed by what we see in our conversations and hear on the ground and see in the data. The House is yet to be called, but we still have a path to the majority. We still have a path to the majority. And almost all of our Democrats, including in the toughest districts, outperformed the top of the ticket, which is really pretty remarkable in this environment. If we do have the majority, it'll be slim. We're going to need to quickly put together an agenda that shows people what we stand for, even in divided government. And if we lose the House, we're going to be in full-throated defensive mode. But in either case, we will still need to do the work to rebuild and call people in to our coalition. In either case, the movement is desperately needed. You will be absolutely essential to the work that we need to do in the streets, in the courts, in people's homes, and in Congress as we rebuild from the bottom up. So whatever you feel today, do not let anyone tell you that you are powerless, that we are powerless. Don't let them take from you the incredible work that you have been doing before and during this election. Don't give up the power of your action, your resilience, your principles, your commitment. And don't forget that we know how to do this work. We have actually prepared for these times. We have experienced victory against Trump before, and we will again. Remember that it was our inside-outside movement that won against Trump in his first term on multiple issues. Together, we forced him to stop the horrific family separations. We prevented him from abolishing healthcare. And yes, we pushed him out in 2020. We can do that again. And today, you're going to get the tools and strategies for how we rebuild. So we're in this together, and we're going to stand here together as we have again and again. So take the time you need to grieve, to mourn, to analyze, and then take your place, your rightful place in this incredible movement filled with generous, loving, strategic, brilliant, caring people building sustained power for the poor and working class. As organizers, we know that strength actually does come in these incredible moments of crisis. It has before and it will again. And I know our movement will continue to lead with generosity and abundance rather than scarcity and fear. So thank you all so much. You belong here, and much love to you.
Representative Jayapal, once again, giving a word to the people at a time of great need. I just want to again emphasize our people's champion told us we've got to acknowledge, we've got to analyze, and we've got to act. Our movements are critical to it. Thank you for that call to action. Thank you for that inspiring word. Thank you for being straight up with us that this is an opportunity where we actually have to feel our feelings and then mobilize to action. Thank you so much, Representative. We appreciate you. All right, y'all. I have another update before we get into this good learning, our political education, and then our next batch of speakers. Y'all, we have hit the 140,000 RSVP mark. And I want to tell you that we now have like 2,500 community gathering signups already. I want to see, and that just happened between like the time that Auntie Judy spoke and that Representative Jayapal spoke. So y'all are literally taking these calls to action seriously. You're signing up to express interest for these community gatherings. Y'all, I want you to see if we can hit that 3,000 mark before the end of the call. Can we hit the 3,000 mark? Can we commit to 3,000 community gatherings across this country saying that we are worth fighting for? If so, I want you to go to weareworthfightingfor.org. I want you to sign up for your interest, to show your interest in these community gatherings. And I want you to make sure that you text MassCall, MassCall, to 30403 so we can make sure that we keep you in the loop of these calls to actions. Make sure you get signed up. And again, We're going to make a goal of 3,000. I've got folks literally texting me right now to tell me if we're going to get close to that, and I'll give you an update as soon as I get updated numbers. So let's get into this learning together. We've already heard from brilliant movement leaders, from our People's Champion, Representative Jayapal, and yet there's more to discuss. As always on these mass calls, we want to ground ourselves in political education. We've been doing these mass calls for a while now, and if you like getting this kind of political education opportunity, I want you to text mass call, MASS space CALL to 30403 to find out about more. Today, we're going to focus on the fact that we're losing working class people, y'all. And in case you were worried that we're just going to admire a problem here, we're also going to talk about what we do about it. We're going to hear from Maurice Mitchell, the national director of the Working Families Party, a little later, who's going to lay down a plan. So stick around for that. What we have shared understanding about is the conditions that we're organizing in. We're all grieving them. It allows us to understand that the things that our organization is doing over here are related to the things that organizations are doing over there. That's why we build this shared understanding. This bigger picture helps us break down silos and understand the full nature of the crisis conditions that we're working in. In this section, we're going to be talking about political parties for educational purposes only. In earlier mass calls, we talked about the MAGA threat. MAGA is a distillation of a bunch of historical movements on the right. There's a historical precedent for MAGA. And second, MAGA represents something even more dangerous than any of these past right-wing movements. The reason that MAGA is more dangerous now is that there's a more fundamental breakdown in the existing order going on right now. The way the world works is turned on its head. This is happening in the United States, and it's also happening all over the world. So, why is there a breakdown in the existing order of things? Well, let's picture it from a U.S. perspective. Right now, there are a series of crises that are all interlocking and converging. There's growing inequality, the changing role of the U.S. in the world, climate change, changing gender norms and the backlash to it, and the racial reckoning and its backlash, among many, many others that you all are experiencing every day. All of these forces are bearing down on us. They're intersecting in all kinds of ways. It's creating incredible pressure on the status quo as we've known it. People's trust in our institutions is breaking down on a fundamental level. Combine this with the fact that for many, many people, life has gotten harder on a day-to-day level. Y'all have seen it. Groceries are more expensive. We can't afford a home. We're buried in debt. Enter into this mix a demagogue like Donald Trump, who's creating and riding the wave of this popular resentment. The conditions are right for MAGA to be so much more dangerous than its predecessors. And while it's easy to just pin it all on Trump, that's not really doing us any favors. We need to push ourselves to think more strategically about this situation, and it's worth digging into these a little bit more deeply. This is the context for a political crisis, too. We've talked about this a lot on earlier calls. It's defined by four interconnected parts. The first part is that the Republican Party is in control of an openly authoritarian faction. This is crystal clear. Let's dig in deeper on points 2 and 3 on this slide. Bullet number 2 says much of the Democratic Party is controlled by ultra-wealthy people and the forces of multinational corporations. To be fair, both parties are. Because of the increase in money in politics, both major political parties have become increasingly dependent on corporate donations. This prevents Democrats from putting forward truly transformative policies for working people. It's not possible to serve two masters, the ultra-wealthy and working people at the same time. This is why the policy solutions look the same. They're tweaks to a system because folks who are getting rich don't really want things to change. Bullet number 3 says that Democrats are losing working people of all races. The Democratic Party is losing working class support while Republicans are reaching out to those voters, and it's working. A lot of us grew up understanding that the Republicans were the party of the boardroom and the country club, and Democrats were the party of the union hall, the public school PTA, and maybe the black church basement. Working people flocked to the Democratic Party during the New Deal era. attracted by transformative policies like the creation of a minimum wage that moved millions out of poverty and the expansion of unions that drove up wages and benefits, allowing many working families to begin to thrive, not just survive. Of course, there were many communities left out of these gains, but that New Deal and the civil rights era built an alignment between working people and the Democratic Party. But we're seeing that change. More and more, building a winning voter coalition with working class voters in an election has been like trying to fill a bucket when there's a big hole in the bottom of it. So the New Deal era is long over, and that alignment has been breaking down. Today, wealth inequality is at historic levels. While America's production goes up, our workers are not benefiting. Tons of workers are now in a gig economy with low wages and no benefits. Since the 1970s, basically every administration has adopted a neoliberal policy agenda. This is a governing philosophy that basically says that the only job for the government is to protect the market and the free flow of capital. It's led to decades of cuts to benefits, privatization of our schools and other public services, and people are losing a sense that the government is even capable of helping them or their families in any real meaningful way. Neoliberalism has weakened the bargaining power of workers and transferred wealth upward towards the 1%. When we talk about this being one-sided class war that exists where the rich are waging war against us, neoliberalism is their battle plan, essentially. But if people in public opinion were just products of the economy, it would be too simple. The Republican political strategist Lee Atwater once said, quote, "Perception is reality," end quote. In other words, it's not enough to simply govern. It matters how people perceive the way that you are governing and who they perceive is benefiting. Too often, both parties are fighting culture wars that tell a different story about who is winning and who is losing. These are stories of division that paint immigrants, gangs, and petty crime and foreign countries as a problem. And before you know it, we aren't telling a story that makes everyday working people feel seen, heard, inspired to come together. Instead, we're telling a story of distrust and blame of each other. We have a fractured media environment. And nowadays, people are not so much voting for someone or something, but rather against it. In this context, it's very easy to create these alternative narratives. And unfortunately, facts matter less than perception. None of this is particularly unique to the United States. When inequality grows, corporations and the rich often support authoritarian leaders who will keep things as they are. We're seeing the trend of authoritarian forces growing worldwide. The far right is gaining power in places like the UK, India, and Germany, and working class people are moving right too. The traditional right party in the UK, the Tories, has been taken over by a hard right. Their election too took on racist and anti-immigrant themes. While the Labour Party prevailed in the most recent elections, they are reacting by moving to the right. In India, we've seen the weaponization of Hindu nationalism to become one of the most powerful prime ministers in the country's history. And in Germany, a country whose entire post-war political culture has been built around the idea of never again, the right is now the second strongest party in the country and is winning state-level elections already. So let's be real. There's a global movement which is seeding chaos around the world. The details are always a little different from country to country, but the basic tendencies towards ethnic and religious nationalism, towards a working class that is moving to the right, and towards right-wing movements that are not only stronger but bolder and less willing to play by the traditional rules of the democracies in which they operate, these tendencies are all there. The final aspect of the political crises in America is the two-party system. Unlike the other countries we just talked about, which are all multi-party political systems, the United States has a rigid two-party system. Why this is can be a subject for us to talk about at another time. The first thing to say, though, is that just changing the system in the U.S. won't make any of these problems immediately go away. If that were the case, all of these multi-party systems we just discussed would be doing just fine. But to ignore the role that the two-party system plays in our particular situation in the United States misses a key piece of the puzzle. Our political system works as a zero-sum equation. If the Republican Party loses strength, it mechanically translates into strength for the Democratic Party. it works in the other direction too. If Democrats lose support, it directly translates into strength for Republicans. This makes it really hard for working people that are angry and want to punish elected officials and parties, and to do so without unintended consequences. And because the margin of victory in many races, like for president, is so small, there's basically no wiggle room in this equation right now. It doesn't matter if the loss of support is in the form of people staying home or voting for the other party or voting for a third party candidate. All of it mechanically transfers power to the other side of the two-party equation. So if you have a situation where, for both economic and cultural reasons, working class people are pulling away from the Democratic Party, even if they don't automatically join up with the Republican Party, it can tip the scales. Again, we don't mention this as a cop out or to suggest that if we had a different political system, all of our problems would magically be solved. But we do need to understand the ways in which this dynamic shapes the set of options that we've got. What this boils down to is that all of us on this call, the over 140,000 of us that have registered to be together tonight, have an urgent need to build and rebuild our power. The political crisis we've been talking about has been decades in the making. It won't be easy to fix these problems. It won't happen in 1 year, or maybe even over 4 or 8 years. In a little while, we're going to hear from Maurice Mitchell, the National Director of the Working Families Party, about what we need to be building and rebuilding our power. And spoiler alert, the things that we do over the next few weeks will either put us on the path towards the goal or move us further away. If you like what you see in this political education module, or if you want to get caught up on the political education sessions that we've been doing on these calls since the spring, you can watch all the recordings at www.workingfamilies.org/mass calls. And again, if you want to get reminded about the next mass calls and keep learning with us, I want you to text mass call, MASS space CALL to 30403. Again, you can text the words mass call, MASS space CALL to 30403. And again, I've told you all earlier tonight that we're going to move from just learning to putting that good learning into action. And one of the ways that we're going to be able to do that is by signing up to host community meetings, the We Are Worth Fighting For community meeting. I want you to go to www.weareworthfightingfor.org. I want you to go there, and I want you to show your interest in hosting one of these community meetings. You can see it at the top of the page where you indicate your interest. You're going to receive a follow-up message with information on trainings and other resources. Signing up on the website doesn't commit you to hosting a meeting, but it does get you on the list to find out about those trainings and learn more about what you need to do to host your own. The first training, again, is tomorrow at 2 p.m. Eastern. So y'all go over there and sign up if you're not already watching this video there. And you can find out about meetings going on for many organizations that you see on this call and get plugged in directly with them if you express your interest. So go to the website, www.weareworthfightingfor.org, and get plugged in. So with that, I want to bring back in some of our movement allies, movement leaders, to hear about what's going on right here and now, and to discuss what our next moves are going to be together. Representative Raskin, I hear we got another people's champion on the call. Thank you so much for being here. Representative, I'm going to ask you to turn your phone horizontally if you don't mind. Come on in the room. Thank you so much for being here with us. I think it's going to flip you sideways. We might just have to do it vertical for tonight, and that'll be all right. Representative Raskin, welcome. I'm going to ask you to come off mute and talk to the people about what time it is on the clock of the United States and what you recommend we be doing about it. Thank you so much for not regarding it robbery to be here with us. We know it's super busy tonight. You're going to tell you to keep it vertical and point it towards yourself so we can see your beautiful face. There you are. There you are. Come off mute and come talk to our 140,000 some odd people that have registered for the call tonight. Welcome, Representative Raskin. Y'all show some love to Representative Raskin as he comes. Thank you so much for being here. We're going to get your audio going here in a second. Y'all know what time it is. Thank you so much for being here, Representative Raskin.
There we go. You got
There
me
we
now?
go. Welcome.
All right. Hey, everybody, and forgive me, somebody can text me about how to make my screen go horizontal. It's driving me crazy. But anyway, welcome to the new world we're in. It's not the one that we were fighting for. And I want to first start by thanking everybody out there for everything you did campaigning for the Harris Walz ticket and going door to door and doing the phone banking and writing the postcards and mobilizing people on social media. And it was an extraordinary ground game that we had. And obviously, we're going to have to do some serious analysis of what happened and, how it was that we actually had several million fewer voters this time than we had last time. And, why did that happen and what's taking place? President Obama sent out a message about how incumbent leaders of right, left, and center around the world who were incumbent at the time of the post-COVID-19 inflation have all been defeated. And that's a useful context for us to think about. The inflation was obviously a product of the collapse of the supply chains during COVID-19 because of the lethal recklessness of Donald Trump among others. But that inflation hurt, and it's always hurt progressive politics. Inflation was a critical element of the collapse of democracy in Weimar Germany, and right-wing movements always thrive on the politics of inflation. And that's certainly, a key part, although not the exclusive part of the story of what just happened to us here. There were a couple of $1 trillion that we put into the economy with the American Rescue Act and some other acts. That was done mostly on a bipartisan basis. Of course, they blamed inflation entirely on the Democrats, and I'm not sure we did necessarily the most effective job of refuting that. The other problem on the economic side, as I've been reflecting on it, is that we were sort of caught betwixt and between. On the one hand, there's been all of this press and coverage about how strong the American economy is. The Economist has a cover story from 2 weeks ago, in headlines, blaring the American economy, the envy of the world. And of course, we did bring inflation down lower than any of the G7 countries did. We've had lower than 4% unemployment for 50 straight months. The problem is inequality in the economy. And so I'm afraid that we didn't make that connection for people. In other words, a lot of Democrats, we were not talking about how strong the economy was because that telegraphed indifference or coldness about people who are really suffering through the COVID-19 inflation. But I think that doesn't give people enough credit to understand, hey, we actually have a roaring economy here. We have 14 million new jobs, 900,000 new manufacturing jobs. But what we've got is too much inequality. We don't have enough union density. The right to organize is not being respected and honored. The right of collective bargaining is under attack. And so we should have said the Democrats can be and must be trusted with the economy. And we are the ones who are going to fight to close all of the economic inequalities that the Republican Party is so devoted to. But in any event, we'll be able to do a more specific analysis of that and of what exactly happened. But look, in some sense, it's important politically for us to do that in terms of going forward. But I know that people have been despondent. I've certainly felt despondent. People in my family, my friends, everybody I'm surrounded with just feels very gloomy and moody about what's happened. But what we've got to understand is this has got to be an impetus for us to get more engaged and more focused, more analytical, and more creative and nimble in our strategies of dealing with a very complicated situation. Now, my own focus has been a lot on the limitations of our political institutions. John Dewey said that there's no solution for the ills of democracy other than more democracy. And what we are suffering from today is not democracy, but all of the impediments and the obstacles that have been thrown up against it. For example, the gerrymandered congressional and legislative districts. For example, the voter suppression tactics, the difficulties that people have in getting registered to vote, the difficulties people have in actually voting. All of these things make our democratic process highly flawed. We have right-wing judicial activism, which resulted in the gutting of the Voting Rights Act in the Shelby County versus Holder case in 2013. The heart of the Voting Rights Act was the pre-clearance requirement, which said that covered jurisdictions had to submit to the Department of Justice or to a federal district court their plans for changes to make sure they would not have a retrogressive effect on the ability of minorities to participate. Well, the Supreme Court essentially destroyed that pre-clearance requirement by saying that the coverage formula was out of date and therefore could not be used any longer. And we've basically been operating without a Voting Rights Act since then. And there have been more than 150 changes to voting in covered jurisdictions, including the closure of hundreds of polling places or the consolidation of polling places, new laws that throw people off of the voting rolls if they miss an election, and so on. Okay, so not only is there that, but we've got millions of people in America who are disenfranchised, including the people of Puerto Rico, who came into sharp focus at the end of the campaign with that racist Nuremberg-style gathering at Madison Square Garden of the Trump forces. Well, we've got 3.5 million American citizens in Puerto Rico who have no voting representation in the House of Representatives or in the Senate and cannot even vote for President of the United States. We've got 713,000 tax-paying, draftable American citizens who live in the nation's capital, the only nation's capital on planet Earth where the people are disenfranchised in their own national parliament or legislature. And in the 117th Congress, in a party line vote, unfortunately, the Democrats voted to pass DC statehood. And I got to be the floor leader for that. And I started off by thanking the people of DC who have a bona fide, valid political grievance, and yet nonetheless didn't come down to the Capitol and beat the daylights out of our police officers and storm the buildings and drive the members of the House and the Senate out of our chambers and try to overturn the constitutional order and an election. So they've done it the right way. They've had a statehood constitutional convention. They've asked for admission to the union. It is time for us to admit Washington, D.C., like we've admitted the last 37 states into the union. So there are things that we can do. You know, we still have millions of people who are disenfranchised because they are former prisoners. They were in prison. Now, the vast majority of states have voted to say that former prisoners who have every other right restored to them when they get out of prison can also vote again. And yet there are 7 or 8 states which continue to either make it impossible or very difficult for former prisoners to get the right to vote. One of those is Florida. Even though the people of Florida voted by referendum to restore voting rights to the former prisoners, the legislature then went ahead and said that that's fine. They can vote according to the plebiscite, except first they've got to pay back the Florida government for the costs of their incarceration, charging people tens of thousands of dollars before they have the right to vote, which of course is a poll tax. So all of that is being litigated at this point. But you see, democracy is not a static collection of laws and practices, although it's partly that. Democracy is always an unfinished project. It's a process in motion. And so when we say we're defending democracy, we've got to make it clear to people that we are trying to move democracy forward. Tocqueville said in Democracy in America that democracy and voting rights in our country are either shrinking and shriveling away or they're expanding and growing. And we've got to get democracy back on the growth track. And that's got to be a very important part of our work moving forward, because what we've got is some antiquated institutions that operate on some really closed systems, like gerrymandering of our districts, like the voter suppression schemes that are now rampant in lots of parts of the country, and then completely ignore the democratic aspirations of millions of people who are left out. So I want to make clear that that needs to be part of our struggle going forward. Democracy and freedom are obviously closely linked. Lincoln said, democracy is like the beautiful silver platter upon which rests the golden apple of freedom. And we're not going to have freedom for women or any other Americans until we have strong democracy that's going to be able to defend freedom. So right now we understand democracy and freedom are under attack. It's going to be up to us to defend them at every turn. And it's going to be our honor to work with these great organizations and the great movements we have in America that have transformed our society. These have been the civilizing movements of American history, and everything depends on it. Those of us who aspire and attain to public office are nothing but the servants of the people. And the moment that we no longer act as servants of the people, that's the moment to evict, eject, reject, try, convict, impeach, start all over again. And we've got to remember, we have no kings here. We have no queens. We have no czars. We have no royals. We have no titles of nobility. And we're going to hang on to constitutional democracy, and we're going to keep America moving forward. Thank you so much for having me tonight.
Thank you so much, Representative Raskin. I just want to bring up some of the gold that you told us. We've got to fight for reenfranchisement of our formerly and currently incarcerated peoples. We got to make sure that we fight for the Voting Rights Act. We got to make sure that DC becomes a respected state. I know a bunch of you all have been fighting for dignity for DC. I see you. Thank you so much, Representative Raskin. We appreciate you for being here with us tonight. Y'all, we've got miles to go, because there's so many other incredible movement leaders that I want to make sure you hear from tonight. But before I transition to the next two people who are my sheroes in movement, I've got an update about the numbers, y'all. So I asked you if we could get to 3,000 signups for folks who are interested in hosting a Worth Fighting For community gathering before the end of the call, and you all have already hit 4,000. You all already, since the last time I gave an update, have hit 4,000 signups for folks interested in hosting a Worth Fighting For community gathering. I'm going to now ask if we can get to 4,500 before the end of the call. I also want to shout out the 11 folks who have already followed up with the support materials that they received and have posted their gatherings. 100 people are already signed up to attend the training to support the hosting of those gatherings tomorrow. The first one is at 2 p.m. Eastern. Again, you can go to weareworthfightingfor.org and you can sign up to express your interest. You can sign up to make sure that you're RSVP'd for the training that's going to start at 2 p.m. Eastern tomorrow. Y'all come on and let's get to 4,500 before the end of the call. If y'all hit 4,500, I'm just proud. I'm happy. As much as I'm upset about the conditions that we are in, I feel hopeful because of the actions that you all are taking. Because you all are not just feeding past your grief, because you're staying embodied, because you're thinking about what you can do to show up as the leadership that we all deserve in this moment so that we can block and build. Y'all, I see you. Let's see if we can get to 4,500. I know people are going to be like, Ashley, why didn't you call for 5,000? It's because I expect y'all to blow 5,000 out of the water before we get to the end of this call. So next, I'm gonna bring up two women who I've already told you are my sheroes in the movement. The first is April Barrett, the president of the Service Employees International Union, and Becky Pringle, the president of the National Education Association. Y'all show some love to April and Becky. April, I want to start with you. Can you tell us where we stand, what it means to your base, and what should we be doing in the conditions that we're currently in?
Certainly. So thank you, Ash. And it's always amazing to be standing with my sister, Becky Pringle. But I just want to first say good evening. And I'm really grateful to be in this space with all of you here on behalf of the 2 million members, the 2 million service and care workers that are united in SEIU. And I know that I'm sure of the 140,000 number, many SEIU members and staff on this call. And every opportunity I have to thank and talk about how proud I am of the way our union showed up, I'm going to do it. So thank y'all that are on this call for the monumental work that you did in this election. And along with many partners and allies who are also on the call, we reached more than 7 million voters in this cycle in 12 different languages. And to your question, Ash, SEIU, and I believe all of us are not defeated, but we are determined and we are defiant. And we are vowing that we are not going to back down. The election outcomes doesn't change the mission that we have in SEIU, nor does it change the vision that working people have. It doesn't change our hopes and dreams, right? It doesn't change that life is too damn hard for so many of us. And so we remain united with and for and to one another, and to building a healthy, joyful, and prosperous future for everyone. And we know that building cross-racial solidarity, not letting any racism or sexism or fear or white supremacy or misogyny or toxic masculinity or any of the things that reared their ugly heads in this election, it's not going to stop us from building cross-racial solidarity or creating a labor movement, a workers' movement that is inclusive, that is 21st century, that is innovative, that is younger and hipper and fresher and queerer and ready to take on the challenges of the 21st century. And that labor movement must be multiracial and multi-generational and multilingual, and it must achieve enough power in order to win unions for all. And so that remains our rallying cry, that remains our mission. And we're going to continue to build political power. We're going to continue to build worker power in any way we can. It doesn't matter like who controls the U.S. Senate or who controls the U.S. House or who controls the president. None of that will stand in our way, along with all of you all of building worker power. And as hard as a lot of what we learned over the last couple of days as the results of this election was really dark and dreary, there are rays of light. Like gig workers in Massachusetts, rideshare drivers who won their right to form a union by ballot initiative in order to improve standards and pay across the industry. The first type of collective bargaining rights to be won for rideshare drivers in the country. That is a ray of light. It is a ray of hope for the type of labor movement that we must build. Those gig and rideshare drivers are not stopping because Donald Trump was elected to be president, and they're ready to take on Uber and Lyft. Voters in Missouri, Representative Jayapal forecasted this. Voters in Missouri passed the new minimum wage in that state of $15 an hour. They also won paid sick days. Again, a ray of light. And we've seen this before in 2020 when Florida went for Trump, but they also passed the minimum wage increase, right? Because people still want and need higher wages and they want access to reproductive care. People want good jobs and they want to be able to afford groceries and the rent, and they want to be able to send their children to safe schools and live in healthy, safe communities and live peaceful, joyful lives. People, no matter what political party they in, want and need access to care, right? Our fight to build the care infrastructure we want and need does not stop. Whether it's childcare or elder care or care for our loved ones with disabilities, and making sure that those who provide the care can they themselves lead and live healthy, joyful lives where they thrive and not just have to struggle to get by. And all of this requires building worker power, right? There is no healthy, thriving democracy without a healthy, thriving worker movement, without, elected champions who stand for the rights for workers to come together and organize, like Representative Jayapal, like Representative Raskin, and so many folks that the Working Families Party have helped to elect across the country. And we remain committed to making sure we write rules, right? We create new rules, new systems, new structures that actually uphold the rights for workers to come together, to make it easier for folks to join unions, to dismantle the systemic barriers that are today in place to that. And we must, in this moment, not back down from waging militant, disruptive organizing campaigns that create a clear contrast to those of us who have and those of us who don't, whether that is who have a share in our prosperity and those of us who don't, those of us who have our fair share of power and those of us who don't. So we are committed to waging these campaigns and hope to do so with many of you all. And we're not going to back down from creating a unified labor movement, right? And not just a movement that's unified around labor, but one that's unified around all that working people need, right? Because people don't just go to work every day. People, live full lives, and we need to be able to fight for people's full lives. And so SEIU is committed to using all of our power to hold the line for working people across the country. We're committed to this fight. We're committed to all of you all. We're committed today, tomorrow, and for as long as it takes. So thanks for having me.
President April Verrett of SEIU. Y'all give it up one time. And now we're going to move straight into President Becky Pringle from the National Education Association. President Pringle, I'll toss it to you.
Oh, Ash, thank you so much. It gives me so much encouragement and joy to be in this space, because I know we're going to win. We didn't win all the things on Tuesday, but ultimately we will. So where do we stand? So the NEA, 3 million members, 51 state affiliates, 14,000 locals are committed to continuing this fight. And we are doing it in partnership with other unions. April and I joined Lee Saunders at AFSCME and Randy Weingarten at AFT and Liz Schuler from the AFL-CIO in intentionally partnering in a powerful way throughout this election. And in so doing, while we didn't win every race, we built our collective muscle together. We've learned a lot, and we demonstrated that when we fight together, that we have impact. I want to caution folks, Ash. I want to caution against a couple of things. First of all, we have a lot of unpacking and assessments to do, and learning from the losses and from the wins. Both are important to learn from. And so I don't want people to rush to judgment. I don't want people listening to pundits who say we've lost working people. April and I, we're working people. We lead unions who are fighting for the rights of people who have dedicated their lives to service. For us, it means teachers and people who drive and feed our kids, people who don't make enough money, where they can only have one job. They have to have 2 and 3 jobs just to take care of their own families. These are working people, and we will continue to mobilize our communities over these next 4 years, whatever they bring. We saw issues on the ballot on Tuesday that we won. We won scores of ballot measures, from rejecting insidious voucher schemes to destroy our public schools. We won, beat back those voucher schemes in Kentucky and in Colorado and in Nebraska. We pushed back on standardized testing that particularly adversely impacts our students of color and our students with disabilities. We did that. We won that. In Massachusetts, we won our fights to invest in public education. North Dakota, where we defeated a proposed elimination of property taxes, and in Washington State, where we defeated the proposed repeal of the capital gains tax. tax. We won in places, in some places on protecting reproductive rights and raising, as April said, raising the minimum wage, creating paid sick leave. We saw time and time again voters making the right choices. So it's really important that we unpack those wins, even as we mount our resistance, because we do have a real and present threat with the election of Donald Trump. Unfortunately, we know under a Trump administration and Project 2025, which, by the way, lots of people talk about it being a blueprint for what will come. So much of that's contained in that, we already saw in his first 4 years. So we know what he will do and what he will ramp up. And it will become clear to voters very soon. We know that those policies are designed to devastate working families and to attack their unions and to jeopardize our children's future. But we will use our organizing muscle. And we at the NEA, and I know are joined by our other labor unions, are organizing for power. And for that, what that means for us is that we have ramped up our efforts to recruit and retain members, to engage them, to create the space for them to be empowered, to mobilize them in ways we haven't before, and this is really important, to deepen those partnerships and coalitions with our parents and families and allies. Others have said that, TWSA didn't change our values. They didn't change that. The results didn't change that. We know that our strategic vision at the NEA to reclaim public education as a common good, as a foundation of this or any democracy, and then to transform it into a racially and socially just and equitable system that prepares every student, everyone, to succeed in a diverse and interdependent world. That is still true. That didn't change. With the results of this election, we know that everyone benefits from a fair economy and from a stronger public education system. So our focus will be on promoting and protecting and strengthening public education. Our task remains empowering working people and advocating for our students and protecting the precious rights and institutions like public education, protecting the freedom to teach and the freedom to learn. We will not consent or concede to anything that threatens our democratic rights. When I first heard Stacey Abrams utter those words, those defiant words, I knew she was issuing a challenge to all of us. And those are the words that are in my heart, have been in my heart, since the election results were announced. And so I want to say to my fellow resistance leaders, we must all channel our inner Stacey, knowing we have to fight every day for freedom and justice and fairness and for this democracy. We will not consent or concede to anything that threatens the safety of our students. We will not consent or concede to anything that threatens the rights that we hold dear. This is the work we have been called to do together. And I will always remind you that we are the ancestors of future generations, and we must do this work together in love and in power, because our children, our babies are depending on us to be worthy of them. Thank you, Ash, and all of you who have joined us here this evening.
Ooh, Becky Pring, we love you. We love you, April Barrett. Thank you so much for speaking a good word to our souls, to our hearts, to our minds. I want to just amplify a couple of things, and then I've got another announcement, friends. I want to Amplify that there is no democracy without a powerful labor movement. You heard it from April Verrett. That powerful labor movement has to be unified. And these are two of the leaders that are making it so. These are two women that I'm telling you I trust with my life. You can follow them anywhere. So support SEIU, support NEA, support all of the other labor unions that you've heard shouted out on this call. I want to remind you of what April said, that we have to assess and learn from our losses and our wins, y'all. That Tuesday was not just a series of losses. We won some stuff too. Y'all know about Summer Lee, right? Y'all know about Latifah Simon. I could call the roll, honey. We won some things too. And we definitely built some power. We talked to millions of people. Those folks are our base, and we did not concede them. I want to remind you of what you heard, to not get caught up in the mis and disinformation that you will hear from pundits on the TV, or, you know, folks on Beyonce's internet, that you are hearing from trusted leaders right here, that whose organizations you could follow, whose social media you could add, right? These are folks that you should listen to. I want to remind you of what our beloved Becky Pringle just told us, that we've got to resist and organize for what? For power. For power, right? We're not just doing it because we want like a badge of honor or a pat on the back. We're doing this because we want to create the conditions that we never have to have a call like this again, right? We want to come together and reclaim public education as a common good, and we want to fight for a fair economy for all people. We won't concede or consent to anything that threatens our democratic rights or the safety and rights of our people. And I want to land it with what Becky Pringle said, that we are the ancestors of current and future generations of people. Let us earn the honor of being such a thing. All right. Y'all give it up one time for April Verrett of SEIU and Becky Pringle of the National Education Association. I love you. We love you. Thank you for being on with us tonight. I've got an announcement, y'all. I've got an announcement. So I asked you to get us to 4,500 people interested in hosting a Worth Fighting For community gathering. I asked you to go to weareworthfightingfor.org and sign up to express your interest in hosting said gathering, and to sign up an RSVP for the trainings that are going to start tomorrow at 2 p.m. Eastern. Well, y'all are already at 5,700 people, 5,700 people who are expressing interest in hosting a Worth Fighting For community gathering. And if that weren't enough to get me to be in a Baptist fit, which I'd shout on this call. Don't tempt me. Y'all have already posted 23 events. I told you just to express interest, and y'all have already said, no, I'm doing this, Ash. So now there are 23 events, and I want to give some special love to some of the folks who have already put it out there. So if you are in Somerville, Massachusetts, shout out to you, because you got a posted event. If you're in Columbia, Missouri, or Silver Spring, Maryland, if you're in Churchville, Maryland, if you're in Dayton, Ohio, if you're in Painesville, if you're in San Francisco, California, if you're in Water Gap, Pennsylvania, or Providence, Rhode Island, if you were in Philly or Monroe, if you were in Portland, Oregon, or Denver, Colorado, if you were in Chi-Town, Illinois, or Benton Harbor, you all have already signed up. And literally, as I'm reading this, I'm getting text messages saying that we're up to 30. There's even more cities, towns, hoods, and hollers that have signed up and posted saying that you are going to host a We Are Worth Fighting For community event. Can we give it up one time to the people being ready to taking up, to understanding and knowing and accepting the assignment? We are not just going to sit in despair and grief on this call. We're going to be honest about it. We're going to be honest that we're devastated at this loss that we saw on Tuesday. We're going to be honest that we are anxious and concerned about what a Trump administration will mean to our people, but we're not going to be frozen. We're going to move together in solidarity and unity and love and hope and faith that our people are going to build the power that Becky and April were just talking about to see us through this 4 years and beyond it, so that we're never in these situations ever again. There are 5,700 people saying they are interested in hosting a gathering. There are 260 people signed up for tomorrow's training at 2 p.m. And there are now 30 posted events saying that we are going to come together because we are worth fighting for. Y'all, now that we're at 5,700 people, I'm going to ask us if we can get to 6,000 before the end of the call. Blow my mind, y'all. Blow my mind. Blow it out of the water. We got over 140,000 people registered for this call. We still got speakers left. So I want you to invite folks that haven't gotten on the call to come and stream it with us now. You can watch it on weareworthfightingfor.org. You can watch it on the Working Families Party YouTube. You can watch it on the Working Families Party Facebook page. You can watch it on Free Speech TV. Make sure you're texting all of your loved ones, all of your community members, your neighbors, the homies that you go to the club with, your faith community. Get our people together. Get them on this call, and let's show some interest in hosting a We Are Worth Fighting For community gathering. I love you. Thank you for being here. Thank you for taking the calls to action seriously. Thank you for following these leaders and organizations that you're hearing from tonight. And let's keep it pushing. The next person I get to introduce you to is someone who I literally love with everything I've got, who I would follow anywhere, someone who is not just my movement leader, but my brother and my friend. You all know him because he helped start the movement for Black Lives and the Rising Majority. You know him because he's been an activist in New York. Some of y'all know him because he's a HU grad. Shout out to the Howard University folks that are on the call. Y'all know him for a billion reasons. Some of you know him as Maurice Mitchell. Some of you know him as Mo. But all of us should know him because he is the national director of the Working Families Party. Mo, we love you. Thank you for being here with us tonight. I'm tossing it to you.
Love you too. Love you too, Ash. And I want to thank all of the speakers that have spoke previously and everybody who's teeing up to speak. And I know this is a really hard time for so many of us. I've spent weeks and months traveling all over this country, meeting many of you. I've seen firsthand the fighting spirit that we have and the determination that we could carry to make our country a better place. In all the places I went, I made sure to spend a lot of time on the doors. I've been talking to people in Ubers, at restaurants, airports, barbershops, on their doors. I know it is cold comfort to us all, but out of those conversations, I draw hope for what lies ahead. In the political education session a little while ago that some of you may have seen, Ashley talked about the political crisis facing our country right now. And she talked about the need to build a mass movement to take on the rise of MAGA. To do that, we have to be honest with ourselves. Donald Trump has won the election, and it appears he has also won the popular vote. We are entering into a period in which billionaires like Elon Musk and Jeff Bezos control the levers of power along with Donald Trump. They're attempting to claim the mantle of the little guy while cutting taxes for themselves and corporations. What they actually want is to divide working class people and build their own pathways to power. And this year, it worked. Trump grew his base of support among working people. We have a lot of work to do to figure out how to rebuild our majority. So I want to lay out a roadmap for everyone to consider about where we go from here. Now, I offer this with humility. I won't claim to have all the answers. We just went all in on an election and faced many defeats. But while this was a tremendous gut-punching setback, it's also a wake-up call and an opportunity. When I talked to working-class people at their doors, I heard a lot of people of all races who didn't really think either party had a plan for them. I was able to make the case to many of them about why they needed to vote for Harris. Some I couldn't. This is exactly why the Working Families Party was founded 26 years ago, with the goal to build a third force in American politics, a political party for, by, and of the working class. This is what we work towards every day, and I have never felt like our role was more important than when watching this year's election results come in. It's sorely needed if we're going to build a big enough majority to beat MAGA for good. After a hard defeat, it's easy to retreat and shut down. But let me tell you this. What Trump and the whole billionaire class wants most of all is for us to give up our power and to surrender to their attacks before they come to our doors. Their strongest weapon is your cynicism. If you think that you can't do anything that matters, you won't do anything that matters. Here's what we can expect. They will set fires to one part of our coalition or another to keep us running ragged and also keep us on the defensive instead of bringing the fight directly to them. We will not be big characters in a story written by Donald Trump or Elon Musk or Stephen Miller or any of those ghouls. We will expose what they really stand for. And each step will build momentum and recruit new people to our side until we've got the biggest and most disciplined people-powered movement by and of the working class. We are going to need everyone on this call to be ready to operate outside your comfort zone and build connections with people who didn't vote the same way we did. This is the only way we build a bigger we, a we that is big enough to win. If you're in a room and you know and agree with everyone, you're not in a big enough room. If you can only organize with people who agree with you and align with all your ideas, then you don't have the stomach for the fight ahead. So how are we going to focus on our work for the next 4 years? Running the same exact playbook for 2016 isn't going to cut it this time. Instead, at every moment, we need to ask ourselves, where is the working class? Where are people like my aunties and my cousins and my mom, a retired union nurse? Where are the people that we met on the doors, like the young Black woman from North Philly that's numb from mourning gun violence? How can we pull some people who didn't like either candidate, but might have voted for Trump, maybe as a rebuke of the status quo, into this coalition and away from his? There's a reason why this happened, and we need to be humble and curious as to why we got here in order to figure out where we're going. We are building the Working Families Party as a political force that is for, by, and of working class people of all races. First, we have to build a movement that is for working class people. Our friends, our aunties, our family members need to see what we are fighting for and with them. They need to see that we are going to listen to them and hear what's important, that we're coming with real ideas and real solutions and real plans, and that we are willing to go to the mat for them. This may be hard to imagine today, but I believe we are at the beginning of the end of Donald Trump and the MAGA movement, because they don't actually have ideas that will help people, and it won't take long to see that the emperor has no clothes. But it will only work if we're clear in our vision of what exactly we're building and who we're building it for. Ashley talked about our need to build and rebuild our power. So I want to spend a few minutes getting more specific about what I think we need to be building. Not in just a couple of weeks or months, but as part of a generational project. That starts tonight with all of us here. It will start with the plans we make to fight back during Trump's first 100 days. It continues with our plans to block MAGA and win elections in 2026. And it is a long-term project as well, which I will get to in a second. To start us off, I want to offer a challenge to everyone listening in on this call. I think after this week, it's appropriate to ask some questions about how things are going and be ready to make some changes. I want you to imagine what becomes possible if the combined forces on this call, the 200 plus organizations that have co-sponsored this event, plus the tens and tens of thousands of you on this call, imagine what becomes possible if we collectively take charge. What if we are not just the door knockers or protesters? We're the ones running for office and designing the agenda and the campaign plans. What if we, everyone on this call, and our organizations and our movements are the ones governing? Imagine us building a multiracial, multi-party democracy where every loss for a Democrat doesn't automatically mean a gain for a Republican, and where the Working Families Party, for example, exists as a viable option for voters who aren't happy with either party in a way that adds, doesn't take away votes from an anti-MAGA majority. So what we all need to do is to be serious about power, hungry for power, because if we have power, then we could pass the laws that repair communities and fix people's lives. We can't do it without power. We can't do it without being serious about assembling electoral majorities. It is important to hold a vision of this in our minds as we talk about how to get there. But like Ash said, it is not just about having good ideas or even passing some of these good ideas into law. It is about how the things we do are perceived. So we need to pick smart fights. We need to divide the MAGA movement. Where we have power, we have to use it ruthlessly. We need to expose the con job that has many people signing up for a political movement that really only cares about one thing: tax cuts for the rich. We'll be leading the charge on things like affordable housing, higher wages, stable prices, climate action, investing in schools here, not expanding wars abroad like the ongoing wars in Lebanon and Gaza, and so much more. Next, we need to build a movement that is by working class people. This means developing working class leaders and candidates. It means working with our friends in the labor movement, and it means reaching people where they live and work, and where they pray, and where they dance. I am unsatisfied living in a country where the right wing is better at organizing people and communicating their shitty policy ideas than we are. If our idea of good work is to be content with getting our dozen best leaders and volunteers in a room over and over and calling it organizing, then I would challenge us that we need to do more. We need a political movement with many leaders who are capable of recruiting new leaders. We need leaders who act with the strategic mind and emotional intelligence to grow our movement at an exponential rate. So we're not just measuring our power in the dozens, but in the thousands, in the tens of thousands, in the hundreds of thousands, and in the millions. Which brings me to my last point. We need to build a movement that is made up of working class people. I have a vision of building a movement that is day in and day out winning the hearts and minds of working class people. These may not be people we have ever met. If we are doing our work, there will be way more people who are in motion with us than have ever come to one of our meetings. The MAGA movement and their wealthy handlers and hangers-on is doing everything in their power to dilute the real power of the working class. Building a movement that is for, by, and of working class people is a generational project, but it's also a project that I truly believe within a few years or two can reshape and grow our coalition enough to beat MAGA for good. And we need everyone to play their highest purpose in it. If you have ever thought about running for office yourself, or if you know someone who should, or if you want to help elect the next generation of working class leaders up and down the ballot who are going to build that movement, please join us by texting JOIN to 30403. Text JOIN to 30403 if you want to be counted in that many. What we owe each other most of all is the truth. This will not be easy and it won't happen overnight, but I am hopeful for what we can accomplish together if we tell ourselves no lies and we claim no easy victories, and if we move with clarity and determination and always compassion and heart for one another. Thank you.
My brother said, tell no lies, claim no easy victories, y'all. If you want to be a part of the solution, the thing that breaks the back of the already broken two-party system that's actually working exactly as it was designed to, which is not in your best interest, I need you to do what my good brother said, and I need you to text JOIN to 30403. Can we show some love to Maurice Mitchell, the National Director of the Working Families Party? Thank you so much, my brother, for not regarding it robbery, to spend some time with us, to give some balm to our wounded spirits, and to give us this concrete call to action that we got to step up. We got to run for these seats. We got to make sure that we're putting people's champions in. We're setting agendas. Thank you and your team for building a movement-centered party that prioritizes the needs and desires of working people. We love you. Thank you so much for being here.
Bless
Y'all,
you.
I have an announcement. We now have 6,000 people who have expressed interest in hosting a We Are Worth Fighting For community meeting, a community gathering. Y'all have done it. We are at 6,000. We now have 50 posted events. So again, I asked you to express interest, and you all one-up me and said, Ashley, let me show you. Let me be about it instead of just thinking about it. You've posted 50 events. I'm going to shout out some places. I already talked about San Francisco. LA was like, hold my beer. Right? So now Los Angeles is in the game. We got Jacksonville, Florida in the building. We've got Atlanta, Georgia. We got Dalton, Georgia. We've got Evanston, Illinois. We've got, who else is up in here? We got Lewiston. We've got Boonton, New Jersey. I might be messing y'all stuff up, but Jersey's in the building. We got Ithaca, New York. We got Middletown, New York. Who else is on here? Oh, I would be remiss if I didn't talk about the great state of Tennessee, the volunteer state. Nashville's in the building. Collierville's in the building. Gallatin has an event hosted. We've got Alexandria, Virginia. We've got Issaquah, Washington. We've got Sumner, Washington. Y'all are showing out. Can we get to 60 posted events before the end of the call? Can we get to 6,500 people expressing interest in hosting a We Are Worth Fighting For community gathering? Y'all, there are now 340 people that have signed up for the training starting tomorrow at 2 p.m. Can we get to 350 before the end of the call? Y'all, y'all are showing out. Can you go to weareworthfightingfor.org? Sign up to express interest. Again, that doesn't commit you to hosting. You can just say you're interested and get access to the trainings and the resources that can maybe solidify your opinion. And then for those of y'all that are like, nah, I'm ready to go. Give me something to do right now. Y'all can go ahead and start posting your events. You can take that information and run with it. And then all of us should be signing up for the training. So can we do that today? Get our interest forms up to 6,500 people, get our events posted to 50, and get our training up to 350. Let's see if we can do it. Y'all, now we got a whole grip of speakers left. So again, I hope you are finding inspiration. I'm hoping you're finding solace. I'm hoping you're finding grounding and direction from these incredible speakers. And I am blessed to get to bring up the next chunk of them. Judith Brown-Dianis is the executive director of the Advancement Project. Shout out to AP and their 25 years of service to building grassroots power. Fatima Goss-Graves, the president and CEO of National Women's Law Center. Demario Cooper, my homie, the co-director of the Center for Popular Democracy. And Tarso Luis Ramos, a researcher and expert on the right wing. Y'all welcome them, show them some love. Judy, I want to kick it off with you. Can you tell us a little bit about what's going on with democracy right now, get us grounded, and talk about what movement lawyers are doing to try to protect and defend our communities?
Sure. Thank you, Ash. Ash is my board chair, so giving extra love to Ash. I also just want to thank the Working Families Party. I'm a member. You should be a member. I want to thank you for the space that you've been creating here with the mass calls, because I have learned a lot, and I really think people should participate. I also want to thank, we talk about democracy. I'm a voting rights lawyer. I want to thank the voters who turned out. I want to thank the canvassers and the GOTV workers and the poll monitors and the lawyers. All the lawyers were fighting to the end. I was in Georgia waiting to fight for certification. It didn't happen, but that's okay, because we're still fighting for voting rights in the courts. I was in Georgia, and there were 40 polling places in Metro Atlanta that received bomb threats that were Russian from a Russian bot farm. But believe me, people still came. They still voted. They were protected. People, voters of color in particular, jumped over higher barriers than everyone else because voter suppression is real. There is a continued attempt to make sure that we cannot participate in this democracy because they know when we participate, when we fight, we win. So what are we going to do as movement lawyers? We are going to block, we are going to protect, and we're going to build. What we know is that the Trump administration is going to move in coordination with the Department of Justice and the lawless courts that Trump has packed. And that what we will see is courts that will forget about precedent, that will forget about the fact that there is a law that exists that they're supposed to uphold, and they will rewrite the law. So what are we going to do? We're going to get in the way. We're going to delay. We're going to interfere. And what we need people to do is to remember the Muslim ban? When people were in court, the people took to the streets. The people went to the airports. The people are the ones who continue to build power. We are going to protect. We're going to protect the movement. We need to flank the movement because we know that people will be mobilizing, and already there are laws that exist that do criminalize protest. So we will be there to protect the movement. And lastly, build. We need to make sure that we seize opportunities to advance our power, to strengthen what we have. And that means moving in state and local legislatures to protect ourselves and strengthen the laws that exist. So lastly, just show up. We need you to show up. Show up in these courtrooms with us. Show the courts that you mean business and you care about the law, because we will shift the tide and we will win again. Thank you.
Y'all give it up one time for Judith Brown Dianis. Fatima, I'm going to quickly toss it to you. Tell us what time it is and what we should know and be doing about what's happening to our people right now.
Thank you, Ash, and thank you, Working Families Party. This has given me a lot of hope. I've been trying to figure out how to move people from despair to action, and the trainings and the events that are posting in real time. And it's a reminder that everyone is ready to show up. I just want to say a few things. The first, around the reminder that Biden is still the president. And one thing he can do before he leaves is confirm more judges. Part of the reason we have been in this situation with the law is that Trump confirmed 234 judges in his 4 years. Not one of them was a Black woman, by the way. Biden is at 213. Every single day, the Senate is in session. They should be taking up judges, and it is not too late to name more progressive public defenders, civil rights, reproductive freedom attorneys who are ready to serve in that role. The second thing that I just want to say is that we have to contend every single thing that Trump says he wants to do. He may be declaring himself in his mind a tyrant, but that is not entirely up to him. We still have other branches of government, including the members of Congress who will be up for election in 2 years and immediately thinking about how it is that they will run for Congress without Trump on the ballot. We will still have the judiciary, and getting more judges on the bench is going to be part of that path. And we still have the many other institutions that have to make the decision about whether they bow to him early. Every single step of the way, we have to make that difficult for them. Finally, we are protecting not only the fundamental institutions we have and the ability to be together, but it is our task every single day to protect those who are most at risk. And every day when I wake up, that is what is on my mind. Those who can't access abortion care that is health and life-saving, families who are at risk. So in your grief, as you move from your grief and your despair and your anger and your rage, it is my deep, deep hope that you put those stories front and center and that you rock with all of us in this next phase.
Fatima, we love you and we're so grateful for your leadership. Thank you for all the sacrifices that you and your family have made for us over the last forever. Thank you for being here. Demario, I'm coming to you. What's going on with CPD?
What's up? It's Popular Democracy. Thanks, Ashley. I appreciate you so much. You the homie all day, every day. Thanks, Working Family Party, for putting this space together. At Popular Democracy, just to be clear who we are, we're 50 organizations in 35 states, DC and Puerto Rico. We are power building organizations. We believe that people power is the only power we're really going to be able to use to build the thing that gets us into the next part of our society here. This year, as that network in battleground states, we knocked on 7 million doors. We had over 1 million conversations, and we brought in over 90,000 people into the organization membership pipeline. We talked about in the beginning using this year as a moment, using the moment to build base and raise consciousness. That was our goal going into this election. That's our goal coming out of this election. We feel like that our people and our future is not determined by anyone who's in elected office until it's our people in elected office. And we feel like that future that we fighting for is a future, our future. And we're going to determine that future. Our future is a future where we have healthcare and a thriving community, a thriving environment, a thriving earth. We believe that humanity is in a way right now that we need thriving humans, that we need to have good healthcare, good education. We know what we're up against. But the truth is, it's our decision whether we have that future. We know millions of people don't participate in elections, and it takes us having a real conversation, someone coming to them in person, not in digital spaces only, but actually in real life, knocking on doors, going to talk to people, building a relationship and trust with people. And that's the thing that's going to move us into the next iteration of our society, the place where we want to live, the place where we want to build. When we're talking about our work, we think about our work moving 7 generations. We think about the work we do today impacting 7 generations from now. And we invite everybody on this call to join organization, to build organization. Don't just be a part of a movement moment. Movements just raise issues. We have to build institutions if we want to go up against these corporations. And what we're saying to you all right now is that join, build something. So join this call, like learn how to build community, learn how to be in community, learn how to organize your friends and your family. And that's the way we're going to get out of this situation. And I also want to just invite people, because we're also having a call. There's a bunch of calls. I want to invite everybody to join something right now. We have a call tomorrow. It's if you go to popdemoc.org/post-election, there is another call. You should join the 2:00 call. We got a call at 8. There's actions tomorrow. I want to shout out the affiliates, Make the Road PA. I want to shout out TOP, if y'all on the call, and Georgia Black Male Initiative. And right here where I'm at right now, Lucha, Arizona. We love y'all work. We love what you're doing. Let's keep doing it. Thank you.
Yo, that's the fam. You just called the roll. Thank you, Demario. You just called the roll. Shout out to Lucha. Shout out to BMI. Shout out to all Make the Road, all of y'all that are doing life-saving work on the ground despite our grief, y'all. Like, not even despite, but because of it. Because we are grieving. We're not grieving just because we're mad at Trump. We're grieving because we love our people and we want our people to be safe and secure and treasured and valued because they've always deserved it. Thank you, Demario, for the reminder that we got to build organization and be in a community with one another. We love you. Thank you. The next person I'm bringing up is Tarso Luis Ramos, our research expert on the far right. Tarso, what time is it on the clock in the United States and what should our folks know about it?
Hey, Ash. Good evening, beautiful people. I'm the executive director of Political Research Associates, which is a research and strategy center that's been fighting supremacist and authoritarian movements for 40 years. It is good to be in community with all of you tonight. Shout out to Working Families Party for organizing this space and for everybody who's shown up. Never mind the first 100 days of a typical administration. In this situation, high tide might hit within the first 100 hours. So let's tell the truth about what we're heading into, right? We know that Donald J. Trump is prepared to order and immediately enforce a sweeping agenda of white supremacy, patriarchy, retribution, and the priorities of oligarchs, the super rich, the Elon Musk, the Peter Thiels. We take seriously and literally his declared intent to conduct mass deportations, concentrate power in the executive office, and pursue perceived internal enemies. Executive orders will get the most attention and will do real damage, but let's be prepared for actions coming from all levels of government and from militant MAGA street forces. We know, right? We know that the MAGA playbook, Project 2025, is a core part of Trump's authoritarian playbook. National abortion ban, erasure of trans people, and much more. For a deep dive on Project 2025, get informed. Check out our site, politicalresearch.org. So let's get information, right? We know that under autocratic regimes, strategy needs to shift. Mass, nonviolent, non-cooperation can over time drive defections from sectors of society without whose cooperation governments cannot function. Religious, labor, business, community, philanthropic, media, local governments, military, and others. A pro-democracy movement anchored by everyday working class people can build the broad front needed to block and build. Block the authoritarians and fascists and build enough power to usher in a new progressive cycle in U.S. history. Action with others is the best antidote for despair. Every victory against oppression in the United States and anywhere else, abolition, civil rights, labor rights, human rights, gender justice, came from everyday working people rejecting isolation, refusing despair, and organizing to block supremacy and domination and build a more liberatory future. But this is only possible through organization and through well-informed strategy. So one, if you're not a member of a mass organization, join one now. There are many fine groups sponsoring this call. Join a union, join another mass organization. And secondly, we can't defeat an opponent we don't understand. So inform your resistance with an understanding of the MAGA Coalition and its playbook. One place to start is with us at politicalresearch.org, but there are many other fine resources, and I know those are getting shared out. So the first 100 hours, the first 100 days, the next 10 years, and as Mo rightly spoken in this space, this is a generational struggle for transformational, multiracial, working class, and feminist democracy. Let's get information and block or build our way to a better world.
Y'all, can we give it up one time for Judith Brown Dianis from the Advancement Project, Fatima Goss Graves, President and CEO of the National Women's Law Center, Demario Cooper, Co-Director of Popular Democracy, and Tarso Luis Ramos, researcher and expert on the far right. We love y'all. They told us to get information, get informed, join an org. They told us that Biden can confirm more judges. YOLO, Joe. YOLO, Joe. Let's get this done, man. Like, let's protect what we can protect while we got the time to do it. Let's resist. Let's contend. Let's not make this easy for the people that want to destroy our communities and ways of living, loving each other. Now's our time to step it up. Now's our time to feel the grief, feel the rage, feel the sadness, feel the despair, and to put those energies into positive directions for the sake of our people to be the ancestors that future generations deserve. Now's the time. All right. I have an update and I have a next batch of speakers. Update. We're now at 68 hosted events. So yeah, I asked you to get to 50 and you blew it out of the water again. Can we get to 75 events before the end of the call? I know we're a couple of hours in, but y'all are still rocking with us. So we're going to keep giving you good content, good learning, good grounding, good balm for your soul and your heart and your mind, good direction, good calls to action. So we're at 68 events. Can we get to 75 before the end of the call? We also have 400 people signed up for the training that starts tomorrow at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Can we get to 450? Is it possible? Can y'all do that before the end of the call? I just want to see if it's possible to, over the next couple of speakers, get some more folks coming in. We still have tens of thousands of people streaming on the website, streaming on the YouTube channel, on the Working Families Party YouTube channel, on the Working Families Party Facebook page, and on Free Speech TV. Tell your folks we still here. I think a lot of people thought that they were going to miss the call because they had other events, but we still here and we still learning together. We still loving up on each other. We still cussing out all the ways that we got here and getting informed about what we got to do about it. So tell your people we still here. They can still join us. Make sure you're posting out that you are interested in hosting a We Are Worth Fighting For community gathering and that other folks can do it too. This is your opportunity to not just talk about it, but to practice the values that we have. Well, I asked you if we could get to 450 people signed up for the training, but just in the time that I was talking, we are now at 500 people signed up for tomorrow's training. I asked you to get to 75 events from the 68 events posted when I first started talking, and we're already at 77 events posted. So I'm going to up that number. Can we get to 550 people signed up for tomorrow's training? And can we get, let's say to 80 events posted across the United States? I would love that. Y'all are killing the game. And when y'all get to 8, I'm getting told I need to ask for 100, but I'm going to try to keep it low. see if we hit that, and then y'all keep blowing my mind. Y'all keep blowing my mind. All right. So the next panel are sisters who I love in life and in struggle. I get to bring to you Graysa Martinez Rosas. Some of the homies know her as G. She is the executive director of United We Dream. I get to bring to you Guerline M. Joseph, executive director of the life-saving organization, very literally, Haitian Bridge Alliance. And I get to bring my sister, Nana Gamfi, the executive director of the Black Alliance for Just Immigration. Some of y'all know Baji. So shout out to them, give them some love. Graysa, I'm going to toss it to you first. Can you tell us what time it is on the clock of young, undocumented, badass organizers all across the country and what we should be doing to support that incredible work?
Solid as a rock, rooted like a tree. We are here, standing strong in our rightful place. Buenas noches. My name is Graysa Martinez Rosas. I'm undocumented, unafraid, queer, and unashamed, and I serve as the executive director of United We Dream. We are 1.2 million young people who are a force to be reckoned with, and we are the proud members of the Working Families Party and the Rising Majority. So if you're ready to join our squad, I ask you to text UNAFRAID to 78757. Text UNAFRAID to 78757. And if you're ready to build the political party of our dreams, if you're ready to party with me, Ash, Mo, and the people that you've seen today, text JOIN to 30403. Sisters, brothers, siblings, today I'm feeling rooted. I feel steadfast because I know that the members of United We Dream, we have always been fighting for one thing, which is a future where we all thrive. And that does not change because Donald Trump has won the election. That does not change even as he threatens to be a dictator and end the DACA program, to throw us into concentration camps and inflict mass deportation. And let me tell you why. Because when Trump separated our children from our families, when he raided our homes and enacted the Muslim ban and so much more in 2016, what did we do? We organized, we built power, and we catalyzed the movement across the country of working class, Black and brown, queer, undocumented AF leaders, ready to throw down, ready to move mountains to protect one another. And your existence today on this call, you showing up today, is a call to protest. Look at this power. All of these people, all of these events, all of these trainings, all of these actions. This is how we show up for each other today. It is all of us refusing to obey the voices that are telling us, it's over, don't even try, you can't even win. Do we believe them? Hell no. We refuse to retreat into a pit of despair. So this is a moment to lock in, to anchor ourselves to one another, to make a pledge to show up for one another. So here are 3 things that I need you to do tonight. The first, and I need you to show up and join the Here to Stay network of millions of Americans ready to show up for immigrant neighbors and friends. I need to show up and call for President Biden to use all of his power right now to protect immigrants and to be YOLO Joe. The second is to organize. I need you to join Lucha in Arizona, the New Mexico Dream Team in New Mexico, Drum in New York, and the many, many groups that are organizing today. And third, I want you to build hope and build power. The kind of hope that has dirt on her face, that has blood on her knuckles, grit of the cobblestones in her hair, and has just spat out a tooth as she rises for another go. The kind of power that belongs to the people and delivers the good. I know that we can deliver for that for our people, and I'm ready to do that with Nana, with Guerline, and with all the people on this call.
Yo, that's a whole word. I want to make sure we get the code right. Text UNAFRAID to
78757.
78757. You're going to text UNAFRAID to 78757, and you're going to text JOIN to 30403. Y'all give it up one time for Graysa Martinez Rosas of United We Dream family. We love you. We are solid as a rock. We are rooted like a tree. We are here standing strong in our rightful place, and we will fight. We will build. We will love with our immigrant family until we see it done. Y'all, next I'm going to bring up Guerline Joseph, the executive director of the Haitian Bridge Alliance. Sister, tell me something.
Hello, beloved. Hello, family. What an honor to be with you today. I am energized. I am ready to go. I have fastened my seatbelt tight to to the point where I am not able to move, but ready for the fight ahead. When we fasten our seatbelt to protect vulnerable communities, and we will continue to go above ground. Our ancestors built underground railroad. It is our call to build above ground bridges and railroad so we can move forward. Understanding that as we build those bridges, we are undeterred and fiercely committed to push back against vile, diversive, and extremely dehumanizing narratives. We all saw what happened in Springfield, Ohio. And we did indeed stand up, and we filed criminal charges against both Trump and Vance. As a result, we became a target where both the community, organization, and myself became a target of white supremacists. But guess what? That fear did not even penetrate because we understood that we had lives in the balance. And as a proud Haitian American woman, we clearly know that when they come for one, they come for all of us. So this force of freedom and liberation that we carry around the world is what keeps us pushing. This is an opportunity for us to activate our collective power to stop this mass deportation of our farm workers, of our taxi drivers, our nurses, our doctors. One thing that COVID showed us is that immigrants are essential, and we must continue to highlight that. So from the streets to the court, we are going to move forward justice, love, dignity, and compassion. Beloved, understand that our very existence is an act of resistance. I will repeat, our very existence is an act of resistance. So we owe it to our ancestors, we owe it to our future generations to keep pushing against white supremacists, against xenophobic ideologies, so that we can come together. Because 2024 really showed us what these Americas are made of. Let's gear up to push back, because 2028 is coming and we must flip. We must flip the table and we must move forward. Thank you so much, beloved, for having me. And as we say in Haitian Creole, un pile main chay palou. Many hands lighten the load.
Thank you, beloved. We are so grateful for you and your life-saving work. Thank you for being here. Nana, I'm coming to you next. Tell us what's going on with the Black Alliance for Just Immigration. What's going on with your base, and how can we support your work?
Absolutely. Thank you so much. So glad to be on here with you, Ash, and so glad to be here with our family. I can taste the delicious sweetness of our collective present and future victories. Almost as good as jollof rice. Now, it tastes delicious to my mouth. And I know that we are all going to participate in the buffet of the victory that we have for our people and for the planet. I'm so pleased to be here and to bring love, peace, power, and joy from your comrades at BAJI, the Black Alliance for Just Immigration, that you can hit up. We ain't got a text, just go straight to us, BAJI.org. You can also follow us at InstaBaji on Instagram and connect up with us. We're a national organization. We fight for the rights of Black migrants and African Americans by advancing racial justice and migrant rights, because they are connected. Black migrants are disproportionately harmed by the criminalization and immigration enforcement systems, and our folks understand there is a special target on Black migrants when it comes to immigration policy, and particularly with the MAGAites who insist on holding up Black migrants as the example of all that is savage, of all that is criminal, and all that is not human. And yet, we've learned from the last time. That's what's one of the most fabulous things is that we have been through this before. We know about the chaotic and violent harm that Trump and MAGA bring. We understand that we know how to deal with it. and that the power that we have is in our collective work. That happens on the ground, in the streets, in the council halls, in the congressional halls, in the courtrooms, everywhere that our bodies can be found. We need to continue to intensify the building of the powerful movement that meets this transformative moment. Here are a few things that we know we need to do to fulfill this sacred duty that we've been describing to meet the moment that we're facing right now. Firstly, we need to move our values and our demands from powerful movement narrative to build powerful community knowings. We got to get this stuff off the temporary file. Somehow it gets into the junk mail and it's going out with the trash. We need this to be on the permanent hard drives, that we are human beings, that our collective love and our collective power is important, and that we are going to be able to build that only with each other. And we do that by intensifying our relationships and building legitimacy with the people. This whole piece of MAGA that is about attacking us and our legitimacy, making it seem like we're the frauds from the blaxploitation movie of the 70s, we've got to push back against that and make it clear with our people who we are and have them standing next to us. And then, as folks have said, we have to build the power and wield the power, not just have it, but wield it to dismantle all that harms us and to build what we know we need and deserve. We are so looking forward. I am so looking forward to throwing down with every single person here, all the people that are watching and streaming, all the people that have already said they're doing trainings and workshops and gatherings. This is wonderful. We are going to win. It is already ordained. And what a time to be alive, to be a part of the transformative crew that's moving us into a whole new world. Thank you, Ash.
Yo, I'm overwhelmed. Gracia, Gerlene, Nana, I love you. We love you. Thank you so much for your individual sacrifices and contributions. Thank you to your members, your organizations. We love y'all. Thank you for being here. Y'all, I have an announcement, and then we're going to keep it pushing. I asked you to get us from 68 events to 75. We are at 83 posted events now. I'm going to ask us to beat that number. Can we get to 90 before the end of the call? I told you we had 400 people signed up for training. And I asked you if we could get to 450. We are at 586 people who are signed up for tomorrow's training at 2 p.m. Eastern. I'm going to see if we can hit 600 before the end of the call. Y'all, we have 7,000 people who have expressed interest in hosting We Are Worth Fighting For community gatherings. I'm going to see if we can get just a little bit more. Can we hit 7,500? If we don't, it's cool. We've already done incredible work tonight, but can we push it? Can we beat this 7,000 number and get a little higher than that? I'm going to give you a check-in after we do the next several speakers. Y'all, the next folks that I get to bring up are doing life-saving work all across the country. The first person that I get to bring up is my best friend, M. Adams, the co-executive director of M4BL, the Movement for Black Lives Action Crew. Abbas from, y'all know Abbas, because y'all seen his face all over the TV, all over the internet, people talking wild about my brother and their organization and the folks that they rock with, but I can tell you on my own integrity, the uncommitted national movement is the truth, and Abbas is the truth amongst them. Give some love to M and Abbas. I get to bring up my fam, Mohan, the executive director of Asian Pacific Islander Political Alliance. Y'all might know them as APIPA. They've been throwing down all cycle. And my sister in the game, Erin Heaney, the director of Showing Up for Racial Justice. Y'all show some love to these incredible movement leaders. And I'm going to start with you. Tell me what's going on at M4BL Action post the election and what you all need us to know in terms of how we can be actively in support.
Thanks a lot for having me. I'm really excited to be here. Shout out to WFP and all the incredible panelists before me. I should say that I'm a proud member of WFP, and I hope everybody on this call is. And if you ain't, get with it. Join the people's team. So I want to say a couple of things. Like everyone else who spoke, I'm quite confident that we're going to win. Ultimately, I'm quite confident that we're going to bring about the future that we deserve. And it's going to happen through a broad, a broad, multiracial, multigender, multigenerational working class movement. But to be clear, that movement must be feminist. And so I'm here to speak about building power that is feminist power. When we are in the process of building a feminist movement and feminist power, it is one that takes seriously and consciously the dynamics of gender, race, class, disability, documentation, and several other important aspects of our identities that matter. If we are telling the truth, if we are willing to tell the truth about what happened, part of what happened is they used patriarchy and misogyny against us. They used old, archaic ideas of gender that, quite frankly, never really worked for Black, Indigenous, Brown, and other people of color communities against us. And we cannot allow that. We have to build a movement that is reflective of all of us and that takes every one of our issues seriously. We have to build a movement that is just as serious about ending violence inside of our homes, inside of our relationships, as it is in ending violence in the political arena and public sphere. The other thing that this big feminist movement is going to do, not only are we going to outwork them on the polls and outwork them in other sectors and areas, but we are going to outwork them in the community. Our movement must deliver real material wins to the community. And so we will not be people who talk a good game. We ain't just going to sit back and say this, that, and point our fingers. We are going to be people who model what the new world should be. When we are every day out there talking to our folks about the issues, we are every day practicing what it means to work on those issues and create the world that we want. And so we are going to be serious, rigorous, and follow the lineage, and at least I am going to follow the lineage of radical Black feminists. I'm going to think about the work of Harriet Tubman that fought in every single sector and arena. I am going to think about the work of Harriet Tubman that said, not only am I going to free my folks at night with my shotgun because we will protect ourselves, but we are going to fight out loud in public over the conditions of Black people. And so we need to be just as serious and just as rigorous in building this serious, multiracial, multigender, intergenerational working class movement. And I believe that we can do it. And I'm really excited to be a member of the Working Families Party that helps to do it. Also, if you are down and want to follow M4BL and the incredible work we're doing in communities, get down with some Black-led organizations, you can text 90975 90975 with the word join, and we would love to have you. Thanks.
You heard it. Join the movement for Black Lives by texting join to 90975. Abbas, come on in the room, brother. We're sending you and Uncommitted so much love. Thank you for the history you've made. Thank you for the sacrifices you made. Thank you for the fights you've been in on all of our behalf and for all of our people. Abbas, we're kicking it to you next.
Thank you so much, Ash, and thank you everyone on this call. My name is Abbas. I'm honored to be joining you as a co-founder of the Uncommitted National Movement, as a proud member of the Working Families Party. I'm proud to help lead Uncommitted in our anti-war movement that's doing everything in our power to save our loved ones' lives in Palestine, Free Palestine, and in Lebanon, while we're also trying to convince Democratic leaders, we've been trying to convince Democratic leaders to align with the majority of voters who overwhelmingly agree we've got to stop sending bombs to an Israeli military that is hell-bent on perpetuating an illegal mass killing campaign of precious people, of people as precious as you and I. And so we did everything in our power, doing everything in our power to move Democratic leadership. We did everything in our power to move the Democratic presidential campaign on Gaza policy, and the campaign did not move an inch in the direction of those most directly harmed. What happened? Trump stepped in happily. He preyed on our community's pain, and now he's set to intensify Netanyahu's mass killing campaign. And so we have to ask ourselves first, why did the Democratic Party do this? Why didn't they listen to us on Gaza policy and so much else that we love and care about? The answer to me feels pretty clear, that the corporate Democrats are making terrible decision after terrible decision on our behalf, on behalf of the rest of us. And they're putting the billionaire donor class over the big and beautiful working class. And what do we got to do about it? Well, we got to look at what's about to happen. Netanyahu's about to accelerate his ethnic cleansing campaign over the next 2 months. And that campaign will continue as Trump comes into office and then puts into motion his plan. He has a plan to target, suppress, and criminalize our pro-peace, pro-Palestinian human rights organizing. And that's why we've got to do something right now. We've got to push Biden right now. We've got to push Biden to stop sending Netanyahu weapons. So that's why our anti-war movement's demands remain clear. It's always been not another bomb. It's not another bomb for the next 2 months while Biden is in there, YOLO Joe. And it'll continue to be not another bomb when the twice impeached former and future white supremacist in chief and his white supremacist cronies get back into the Oval Office. So right now, it hurts. Let's recommit to our organizing, sign our petition for an arms embargo at notanotherbomb.com, and join the future WFP mass calls, y'all. Don't forget to text mass call to 30403 that's 30403 to RSVP to calls like this so that we can keep taking action, so that we can take power away from the corporate political actors and place it where it belongs, in the hands and the hearts of the working class, not the political donor class. Appreciate you all.
Abbas, we love you. We love you. We love you. We are committed. We are in it to win it with you. I want you to make sure to go to notanotherbomb.com. We're going to see this work through. We're going to see it done. And remember to text mass call to 30403. So I got another announcement. We've got a whole bunch of people signing up for the training tomorrow. I asked you to get us up, and now we're at 600 people. So yeah, over 600. I just got a text. We're over 600 people now. Y'all, I want you to see on the bottom of your screen where it says www.weareworthfightingfor.org. I want you to go to that link if you're not already watching from that page. At the top of that website, you can indicate your interest and you'll receive follow-up information on trainings and other resources. We've seen a bunch of people in the chats asking, how do you get access to the training? Well, you go to weareworthfightingfor.org. You go to the top of that web page where you can indicate your interest, and we will follow up with information on the trainings and other resources. Again, I want to remind you that signing up on the website does not commit you to hosting a meeting or a community gathering, but it does get you on the list to find out about the trainings about hosting your own. The first training, again, is tomorrow at 2 p.m. tomorrow. So go sign up. And you can find out about meetings that are going on for many of the organizations that you've heard from tonight. So you can get plugged in directly with them. So go to the website that you can see on your screen and get plugged in. Again, I want to show some love to Abbas and M. Adams. Thank y'all so much for being here with us. Mohan, you are up. Shout out to the incredible work that y'all have been doing in and out of cycle with Asian Pacific Islander Political Alliance. Tell me what's going on the ground post-election and what we can do to support your work.
Good evening. Thank you so much for having me. It's great to be here with my family at WFP. I'm a proud member and a proud member of the State Committee of WFP Pennsylvania. My name is Mohan, and I'm the Executive Director of APIPA, Pennsylvania's Asian American political home, and the co-chair of the Asian American Power Network, the national coalition of Asian American political organizations across the country. Our community has political infrastructure and movement ecosystems that did not exist 8 years ago, and we're gearing up for the fight of our lives. It's a horrible week. Our people are scared and determined. Our people are ready to keep fighting the genocide, keep fighting the deportations, keep fighting for our homes and our families. We know that anti-Asian racism and xenophobia didn't start yesterday, and it's not going to end tomorrow. We can do this, but we can't do this alone. It's about to be a tough year for Asian America. We have no optimism, as you just heard, that Trump is going to be any better on war and genocide than the Biden administration, and he will be even worse on mass deportations of immigrants and refugees, ripping families apart all across the country. He put targets on the backs of Muslim and Chinese Americans. He targeted Asian students and H-1B holders, and we fought him on healthcare and education enough the first time around to know what we're up against now. It will take an organized, disciplined, united, multiracial front to stand up to him. Our communities will be shoulder to shoulder with everyone else in this. It's going to be an exhausting fight, but it's one that we can win. So to my Asian American siblings on this call, my ask for you is this: join WFP. But then, if you're not already part of an Asian American organization that is intergenerational and rooted in our community, that builds power and organizes around our self-interest, join one. You can go to aapowernetwork.org to find our political homes all across the country. Trump and his right-wing cronies have made it clear that they have no interest in our communities having any sort of stake or presence in this country, let alone access to democracy. Our people deserve to be met where they are in their homes and in their languages. Our people deserve to be organized. This is work that only we can do. This is work that needs to happen. We need organizers and leaders ready to fight tooth and nail for Asian American political power and a future in which we can all thrive. Join us and let's build together. We have 2 months to rest and build as we prepare to show Donald Trump that democracy and freedom are worth fighting for and that our movements are ready to throw down. We can do this. Let's get ready to fight. Thank you.
Mohan, we love you. Like, can't nobody say PA didn't put it all on the playing field. Thank y'all so much for the ways that you stood up and fought. We love you. We're in it to win it with you. Thank you for being here. Aaron Heaney, I'm bringing you up. So, you know, lots of people got a lot to say about what white people did and didn't do, right? And I know for a fact that showing up for racial justice did everything in their power to organize white folks, especially white working class folks, to vote in their best interests. And so I want you to talk to me, like, what are you hearing from our folks in your base post-election, and what do we need to know about what white folks are doing to organize their own people?
Thanks, Ash. Good to be with everyone tonight. I'm the director of Showing Up for Racial Justice, and we are proud members of the Working Families Party. Here's what we know, Ash. White rage is lethal to democracy, and if we are not organizing white people around their suffering, someone else is. And the right has been organizing white people for a very long time. And as a result, Democrats have been bleeding working class voters for decades now. And it started with my folks, right? Working class white folks. Our opposition knows that they have to keep white people silent, separated, or antagonistic towards movements for justice, multiracial movements for justice that are fighting for a better world and always have for all of us, right? They have preyed on the suffering of our people and offered a vision and a path to power, but one that is built on white supremacy, patriarchy, and misogyny. And so at Surge, we're going toe-to-toe with the opposition to contend for working class people, right? And at Surge, we have a very specific role. I think Mo said earlier, we need to figure out what our lane is and play it with excellence. Our lane is focused on organizing white people because we understand how the right has preyed on the pain of our people and sold them a bullshit lie that whiteness and racism will solve the very real suffering in our lives, right? And so we are working to organize white people into solidarity with working people of all races and to understand and feel deeply our shared stake in fighting together for what we need and against racism, right? And to help those of us who are white understand we get the things we need in our lives, not by aligning ourselves with rich white people at the top like Trump, Peter Thiel, Elon Musk, but through solidarity with other working people here and abroad. So we are not conceding our people to white supremacy. We're fighting for our people to grow a bigger movement so we can win governing power, y'all, for working people through elections, because we understand that elections have consequences. That's why we're all here on this call tonight. And the Democrats failed to deliver a winning strategy, so we've got to take it into our own hands, right? The two-party system failed us, and that's why we are such proud members of the Working Families Party, right? And why we are committed to building a non-delusional, non-marginal third party in this country. And so if you want to join us in organizing white people away from the right, go to surge, surj.org. And if you want to see information, please continue to join the Working Families Party's mass calls. Text mass call to 30403 to stick with us for the long haul. Thanks, y'all.
Aaron, we love you. Thank you so much for the work of showing up for racial justice. We love and appreciate y'all. Give it up one time for M. Adams, Abbas, Mohan, and Aaron. We love y'all. Thank you so much for being on with us tonight. We are going to keep it steady pushing, y'all. We're at 86 events now. Can we get to 90? Can we do it? Can the thousands of you that are still watching sign up? I'm just going to also put this out there. If every speaker signed up to express their interest in hosting a community gathering because our people are worth fighting for, we are worth fighting for, we would probably get to that 100 mark of folks posting events. So I'm going to ask our speakers, the 200 plus organizational co-sponsors, if members of those organizations in every place that we are around this country signed up right now to express our interest in hosting a We Are Worth Fighting For community event. We'd blow it out of the water, y'all. So can we get to 90? We're at 86 events right now. Can we get 4 more before the end of the call? Next, I'm going to throw it to some folks that are fighting for our body autonomy all across this country. Folks that are fighting for reproductive justice, folks that are fighting for mamas and babies, folks that are fighting for childbearing people, all of our people across issue area and sector around racial justice, around gender justice, so much more. So the next few speakers I'm going to bring to you are Monica Simpson, one of the most badass reproductive justice advocates in the game. I'm going to bring up Dom Kelly, my homie, my comrade, the co-founder, president, and CEO. The homie got 3 jobs at New Disabled South. And I'm going to bring up my comrade, my OG, my sister, Monifa Bandele, the senior vice president and chief strategy officer at Moms Rising. Monica, Dom, Monifa, I love you. Monica, we're going to kick it off with you. Tell me what's going on with reproductive justice in this moment post-election and what we can be doing to support your work.
Peace. Thanks, Ash. And thank you to everybody that's on this call. It's been a long night, but a powerful one that my soul needed. I'm very grateful to be in partnership in this work with each and every one of you. And the ones I don't know, I'm excited to be in the work with you too. But I will also say, for real, like, the emotions have been going all over the place. But one of the things that I got resolute about today is that, the world, this joy that I have, the world didn't give it to me. And these election results and all of this other stuff sure as hell ain't going to take it away. So I'm sitting with that energy in my soul tonight. But, freedom for us is always at the forefront. We know that bodily autonomy and our human right to self-determine, our ability to make our own decisions about our bodies, our families, our futures is on the line. We know it was one of the major points of this year's election. And we know that even before then that we were dealing with so much, so much was being at stake. What I also want to make mention of is that although we were looking at a very bleak picture after we saw the fall of Roe with the Dobbs decision, we saw that then pushed us forward into an abortion ban fury across this country that we now have seen taking the lives of far too many people. I want to name those folks today when I think about all of those folks that we have lost too many lives to. That's Amber Thurman, Candy Miller, the first 2 Black women who were documented to have died from abortion bans in this country. Also, Jocelyn Barnica and Nevaeh Kane. These are new deaths that we have now been able to uplift out of Texas, y'all, and there are probably more that we have yet to name. What I do know is that their deaths were preventable and that they should be here with us today. We know that Project 2025 is real. We know that Roe was never enough. We also know that our silos have never saved us, and we must now know that we are the ones that we've been waiting for. When we look at what's at stake right now, we are dealing with a country where nearly half, if not almost all of this country is fighting an abortion ban or some type of abortion restriction, right? We also know that we did have some victories this election season. We got to give love to where the victories are coming from, because there were many states like New York, Colorado, Missouri, Maryland that did protect abortion access, and that was from the people, right? So what we do know is that the people want and need abortion access and not bans. So we also know that we're in the midst of a maternal health crisis in this country. And we know that Black women are continuing to bear the brunt of that, them dying 3 to 4 times more higher than white women in childbirth. And that looks different across different states. We know that we don't have comprehensive sex education in this country, but yet a sexual predator gets to potentially hold the highest office in this country. There is a problem there. We know that queer and transphobia is taking the lives of too many beautiful souls too soon. And this is why Black women created reproductive justice 30 years ago, because they knew that what Audre Lorde taught us, we can't have single issue movements because we do not live single issue lives, was real for us. So can we say trust Black women? I know we can't talk to each other on this thing, but I need y'all to understand that we must trust Black women, because Black women be knowing. And we got the historical receipts to continue to show that over and over again. But for those who may be new to what reproductive justice is, it is a movement and a framework that is about the human right to bodily autonomy, to have children in the ways that we want, to prevent or end pregnancies without shame but with dignity, and to be able to parent our children in healthy and safe environments. So I believe that this intersectional, human rights-based, Black feminist-rooted movement and framework gives us the blueprint for this political moment. But I also want to make something really clear that's really important to us as a reproductive justice movement, because this is what we see. Our work is so deeply run by stigma and all of these narratives that get pushed into our communities. And we saw this in this election season. Our opposition was intentional and, dare I say strategic about making sure they pushed sexist, racist, divisive, sexist narratives and propaganda into our communities. And they want to do that to create a culture of confusion and fear. They wanted to do that to keep us in defensive posture. They wanted to do that to keep us fighting each other. And we can see how all of this played out in this election. But let me tell you what that leads to. This type of propaganda turned into legislation. That legislation turned into court cases. Court cases then turned into Supreme Court battles that ultimately reversed Roe v. Wade, rolled back voting rights, dismantled affirmative action, all of which happened under a president that will now potentially be returning back to office, right? I still keep saying potentially because there's a piece of my heart that don't want this to happen. Y'all feel what I'm saying? So I know that we must fight. I am clear that we must fight. We know that we have to do that together. But I also know that this is not just a political fight that we are in. This is a fight that we must demand that we have to shift the culture. What our opposition knows is that what they have against us is that policy change is cannot be sustained without culture shift. And so what is also really needed in this moment is for us to figure out how do we take our power back of our own culture, because we are the experts and the architects of our culture. How do we start to wield that and use that for us in order to build our collective power, to build our strength at our intersections, and then be able to shift our narratives in the ways that they need to be in order for us to engage our communities in deeper ways. That's what we're doing in RJ. That's what we're doing, and we're committed to doing, is making sure that our people can see themselves, their stories are seen, that they're able to understand that they can have the space to be able to bring their stories to the forefront, because that is what's going to get us to shift us out of this moment that we're in. But our people have to see themselves reflected. So I will leave y'all with these two calls to action. One, we want you all to, the doors of the reproductive justice movement is open. Good people. They've been open and they are wide open for you all. We are a membership organization. You can get down with us, and there are many other powerful reproductive justice organizations all across this country for you to get down with. You can find out more about that work at SisterSong_WOC on Instagram and also our website. But I also want you all to also get tapped into our Trust Black Women work. Our Trust Black Women campaign is a national campaign working to bring a national coalition of Black women-led organizations and Black people who are committed to reproductive justice to be a united front against any attack on our reproductive lives and our leadership. Good folks. So we got good things for you to get tapped into. The fight will be long, but we know that we are prepared because we have been given everything that we need to be able to be activated in this moment. And the only thing that we have to lose by us working together to do this, like for real this time, y'all, not just because we say that we want to do it, but that we really going to do it, meaning that we're going to put ourselves in those positions to meet the people that we ain't met yet, to have the hard conversations, to be in principled struggle, to do everything that we got to do to make sure that we are moving in the ways that we need to, because the only thing that we have to lose by doing that is our change, good people, in the words of Assata Shakur. So thank y'all for having me on. I'm excited to do this work. I'm ready to do this work with each and every one of you. And let's make sure that we are keeping our work together so that we can build the future that we all deserve. Peace and love, everybody. I thank you for having me on tonight.
Monica Simpson, I love you with my whole heart. We love you. I heard Monica tell us that trusting Black women is a doing thing. And if you want to know more about it, you can check out the hashtag Trust Black Women. You also can join reproductive justice organizations and be about the work. You can learn more about that by going on socials and going to @SisterSong_WOC. Thank you, Monica Simpson. Dom Kelly, badass musician, activist, organizer, co-founder, president, and CEO of New Disabled South. Tell us what's going on with our disability justice movement post-election and what our people should know and be doing about it.
Well, Ash, first of all, I love you and I love WFP. I'm a longtime dues-paying member. I just feel so honored and privileged to be here with y'all tonight. I founded New Disabled South and New Disabled South Rising because I believe in a South, in a country, in a world where liberation for all disabled people is possible. This is a moment that calls for solidarity. And let me just tell you what disabled people are facing right now. There's 61 million of us in the United States. Tens of millions more have been added to our community since the start of COVID. Our community lives in poverty, twice the rate of non-disabled people. That number increases if you're Black or brown or queer. Disabled people can still legally be paid pennies per hour in this country. Millions of disabled folks don't have health care. Black disabled folks are killed by the state every day. Mask bans are putting our most vulnerable, disabled, and chronically ill comrades at risk of death. Trans youth are having their care taken away because of the weaponization of disability by the right. Our leaders are funding a mass disabling event in Palestine and Lebanon. The list goes on. But I know that we can do better for disabled people around the world, and I know that we can win. If every single person on this call acted in solidarity with disabled people, we would win. And we know that there's no collective liberation without disabled freedom. We know what the right's going to do because they've told us. So when Trump and his ilk go after the Americans with Disabilities Act, we need you with us. When Trump goes after Section 504 of the Rehabilitation Act, we need you. When disabled people die because Trump makes sure they can't get an abortion, we need you. We need you when he goes after the IDEA, Medicare and Medicaid, SNAP, TANF, the ACA, masks, clean air, vaccines. He's going to go after all of that. We need you with us. Organizers, we need you to practice disability justice. Make your spaces accessible. Help keep us safe by wearing a mask. And y'all, most importantly, we need you to be with us in the joy, because disabled people are always fighting. We're struggling. But we also know how to experience joy because joy is an act of resistance. We can defeat fascism, but we have to do it together. We have to build community. We have to act in solidarity. And there's no justice for anyone without disability justice. So if you're in the South or you're anywhere in this country and you want to get involved with us, you can go to newdisabledsouth.org/get-involved. You can find us on all the socials. And I really hope to see you in this work with us. I would love to throw down with all of you. Thank you, Ash. Thank you, WFP.
Thank you, Dom, for being an incredible leader of the Southern Freedom Movement. And thank you so much for the unbelievably amazing and life-saving work of New Disabled South. Monifa Bandele, I'm bringing it to you next. Thank you so much for being here. She is the Senior Vice President and Chief Strategy Officer of Moms Rising. Monifa, tell us what's going on post-election and what we need to know and do about it.
Hey, thank you so much, Ash. Thank you, Working Families Party. I come to you representing Moms Rising, our 1 million members, and our 83,000 volunteers who sent 5 million mom-to-mom handwritten postcards, did 20 million plus mom-to-mom text messages, 1 million phone calls, and 2,300 GOT events this election cycle. We are out here. We are a real parent movement, not a fake parents' rights groups, like the ones I often refer to as the Daughters of the Confederacy, also known as the Project 2025 Coalition Partners, Moms for Liberty. They not like us. We at Moms Rising fight to ban fascism, not books. We fight for children's rights and not guns' rights. So now, moving from shade to light and from petty to powerful, I want to share how we're making meaning of this moment. You know, it's our feminist scholars and our feminist philosophers, Em touched on this, that have the vision, that have the creativity, our feminist world builders that help us to imagine worlds we've yet to realize and also help us to make meaning of the world we're in right now. So I'm going to invoke our late great sister, the prophetic and the prolific Octavia Butler, right? So all of you out there, all that you touch, you change. Did our collective efforts result in what we intended this time? No, not in the immediate sense. But this is what I call the relay-a-thon, right? Also, it's like a multi-generational marathon plus relay race, right? We have one leg of a multi-generational fight where, thank goodness, our ancestors have built a foundation that is actually unbreakable, okay? Our opponents might crack that foundation. They might even temporarily knock us off our foundation, but they can never, ever erase the work of Fannie Lou Hamer, Ella Baker, Fred Hampton, Chokwe Lumumba, SNCC, Dorothy Height, Pauli Murray, and the work of Marsha P. Johnson. Okay? Our ancestors have touched this nation and it will never be the same. Okay? The second Butler mantra is all that you change changes you. And so I want us to take a minute because we are hurting. We are traumatized. Generational trauma is dysregulating. How do we maintain ourselves? How do we care for ourselves after centuries of white supremacy, sexism, homophobia, xenophobia? We must continue to check in on ourselves and each other. We have to make sure that our words and actions intentionally deconstruct our internalized oppression and heal us, right? And please hear me. If you need help, seek it. I know a lot of us have been talking to family and community members out there. People are not okay. Pay attention to your body. We love you. We need you. We must care for ourselves. We must rest. We must recharge. And collectively, though, once we are well enough to do so, we must reactivate. And let me be clear. Activism can look like a lot of things. And not everyone's activism looks the same. Trust me, surviving a system designed to kill you is in fact activism and caring for yourself. So please survive and thrive. Next is the only lasting truth is change. So just like the work of our ancestors, our work in this moment also cannot be erased. Come on, family. Our ancestors are cheering us on. I can hear them, and I hope that you can too. No election loss, no power grab, no false narratives about what happened and didn't happen will ever erase the diligence, the work, and the power that was amassed, not just this year, but over the past decade. We have forever changed the trajectory of this nation. There was a before now, and there's an after now. Our work has not been in vain, and it's permanently etched in the historical record. It is a lasting truth. Look inward and be inspired by you, all of you, on this call, all your members, all your workers. And last but not least, she said God has changed. So no matter your faith, God is often synonymous with all-knowing, all-powerful, omniscient. Well, as change makers, we don't know it all. We don't have all the answers, but we have faith, we have hope, we build power, and right now, we are disappointed, but we are undeterred, and our work is divine. So finally, whether you organize year-round on all the issues that impact our communities or you knock doors, phone banked and text banked this year, all I can say, the call to action is to stay in formation. The organizations on this call, when we added up all our numbers, I'm like, this is like 100 million people have been touched. Stay in formation. We have built some powerful infrastructure that we must maintain for the long haul. Join an organization that makes sense for you. Follow us at momsrising.org, share your stories, build power, and I'll just conclude with one more bar from Octavia Butler, who left us so many jewels for actually right now. Like she left the jewels decades ago for us right here in this moment. And she said, in order to rise from its own ashes, a phoenix first must burn. Now, when you tell me to burn, I hear that you want me to be fire. And for those who know, when something is fire, it's great, powerful, excellent light. So let's not let anyone or any moment put out our light. Be clear. We are coming back for everything we lost. Watch us cook. Watch us glow. Thank you, Ash, and thank you all. We are worth fighting for.
Monifa came with the gospel, with the ancestral role and prophetic wisdom, with the guidance, with the love, with the rage, with the grief, and with the direction, y'all. She reminded me, I got a phoenix right here. It says, "Have you been tried in the fire? Did you come through as pure gold?" Like that's our mission. That's our work right now, comrades. Let's get to it. I definitely am trying to get a t-shirt with half the bars that the comrade just dropped. So y'all give it up one time for Monifa Bandeli and the Moms Rising fam. Dom Kelly, the president, CEO, and co-founder of New Disabled South, and the incredible Monica Simpson, badass reproductive justice advocate, throwing down with Trust Black Women, Sister Song, and reproductive justice advocates all over this country. We love you. Thank you for being here. We're going to keep it pushing, y'all. We're in the home stretch. I have an announcement to make, and then I'm going to introduce you to the next round of speakers. Y'all, we have 7,300 people signed up is interested in hosting a worth fighting for community gathering. Can we get to 7,350 before the end of the night, before the end of this call? Can you keep showing out? We've got tens of thousands of people that are watching, hundreds of thousands registered. We've got over 200 organizations that have co-sponsored this call. Can we make this number bigger? Folks that are interested, but not necessarily committed yet to hosting a community gathering, a We Are Worth Fighting For community gathering. If you sign up on weareworthfightingfor.org, if you go to the top of that website and express your interest, we're going to follow up with you, and you're going to get information and resources about trainings and other resources, links to all the organizations that you're hearing from tonight, their calls to action. You're going to get so much information to stay plugged in, information like we've been told to do multiple times since the 8 o'clock Eastern Standard Time hour, y'all. Go to weareworthfightingfor.org. The website is on the bottom of your screen. You can go to that website. You can sign up to express your interest. Let's get it up. We've got 7,300 now. Can we get to 7,350 before the end of the call, before the end of the night? To sign up to express your interest. Then we're going to give you the information about the training, y'all. We've got 670 people already signed up for the 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time training that we're going to host tomorrow. And we now have 90 events already posted. We asked you for your interest and you one-upped us with proactivity. So now we have 90 events posted. Can we get to 100 before the end of the call? Can we get to 100 before the end of the night, y'all? Let's see it so. The next group of folks are incredible movement leaders, journalists, activists, strategists from all over the country. I get to bring up my kin, Amara Jones, Emmy and Peabody award-winning journalist. I get to bring up Mel Willingham Jaggers, movement leader who has been throwing down for education justice, for youth justice, for LGBTQI liberation for as long as I've known them. And I get to bring up Kelly Robinson. Y'all already know Kelly, who's been holding it down at the Human Rights Campaign. And my sister in struggle, Rachel O'Leary Carmona, who is the executive director of the Women's March. Y'all, welcome to our meaning-making call. Amara, I want to start with you. We've heard a lot of folks talking about the impact of Tuesday and what it's going to mean for trans folks all over the country and, frankly, all over the world. Can you come in and tell us what you're seeing on the ground and what folks should be paying attention to and doing in this season?
Thank you so much for having me. I have to remind myself that it's just 8 o'clock in California. So, it's close to my bedtime, but it doesn't matter. It's earlier elsewhere. So one of the things that I want to say, there's so many things that we could say at this particular point, but I want to do something before I go on, which is to warn everyone about something that has swept movement and journalism today, and that is whose fault this election is. I just want to say that if anytime you see something that is on the front page of the New York Times about progressive movements or Democrats, I would be incredibly skeptical about what I am reading for a variety of reasons. And I would say that I can tell you as a journalist myself that everything that you are hearing about that analysis or breakdown is totally specious. It is empty, it is rhetoric. That's because there's not been enough time to do enough analysis about any of it. And so what's happening is that there is a projection of people's already existing prejudices about who is to blame for the ongoing failures of the Democratic Party to realize itself. And that's all that's being written, and that's all that's being spoken. So I want to just counsel all of you as you all are in various meetings and trying to figure out what needs to be fixed in order to get a different outcome, to just be very, very, very careful about these conversations right now and to not move too quickly. There's a basic rule that the first reports that you hear about anything are wrong. And I would say that most of what you are hearing now is wrong, and you should not be making major decisions about movement based upon incomplete or erroneous information at this particular point. That's the exact wrong thing to do. I would say that what I'm going to tell you and break down for you is the result of the work that the organization that I lead, Translash, has done over the past 4 years. Translash is a journalism organization that uses the power of narrative to center the humanity of trans people, both to end violence against trans people and as a way to protect democracy, because we understand that the stories about trans people is being used to undermine democracy at its core. And there's no greater example of that than the election that we all just endured. And one of the things that we do at Translash, and I will urge each of you as a part of your coming up to speed of the entire infrastructure that brought us to this moment, to go and to follow an investigative podcast series that we have called the Anti-Trans Hate Machine, which is now in its 3rd series, that works to plot the people, the money, the organizations, the paramilitary groups, the media infrastructure that has activated in order to shift how we talk about trans people, as well as to advance the political agenda of authoritarians. We issue it once a year. It is now in its 3rd season. We have been producing this for 4 years. And the entire point of the podcast is to have this information be easily digestible for people. And alongside it, we also produce animated films about this topic. We've also produced infographics. So there's a lot of resources. If you go to translash.org/anti-trans hate machine, I think in this moment, it'll be useful, especially for people who aren't used to making the connections between what's happening with what's now to what's happening with trans people. So I wanted to give you all that setup to just let you all know that I'm not making it up, what I'm about to tell you. I think the first thing that I want to say is when you hear everything that authoritarians have said about what they are going to do and who they are going to target and how they are going to do it, to take them seriously. You do not know their base better than they do. You do not know their plans better than they do. You do not have a sense of the agenda that they have better than they do. And so you have to take them at their word. You cannot say it's just political rhetoric, because I can assure you that it is not. They're just posturing, and when they get in, they'll do something different, because that's not true. When they come in, we saw what happened in 2016. They weren't as competent as they were then. It's not going to unfold in the same way. That's false. I think if you look at who Donald Trump appointed to today as his incoming chief of staff in the White House, you will see that this is going to be a very different 4 years than the last 4 years. So take them seriously. Do not let the fear that comes from understanding what their plans are deter you from looking those plans solidly in the face and beginning to figure out what we are going to do as some of the worst things that they have told us that they are going to do unfold. This is a very serious point. The other thing that I would say that I think is a really critical juncture, besides taking them seriously, right, not brushing it off, and not allowing other people to brush you off when you speak clearly and say exactly what is happening, is to understand that the entire argument for the Trump second term, his closing argument to the American people, the thing that he spent the most time on, the thing that he spent the most money on, the thing that they spent the most energy on, was saying that they should hold power because of what they're going to do to immigrants and what they're going to do to trans people. That is the closing argument for the campaign. And so therefore, that means that on day one, that when there is talk of implementing mass deportations, that is going to come very, very early. And that when they say that they are going to use the government to erase millions of Americans from public life and to block any opportunity for trans people to participate as equal citizens, that's going to happen very early. I would also say that if you believe that there's any way that you can distance yourself, distance your movement, bargain yourself away from the negative consequences of all of that, that's not going to work. And the reason why I say that is that there is a temptation, especially amongst, progressive movements, is to always develop key parts of the coalition that people are willing to sacrifice, people that you're willing to offer up as to buy yourself some space, to buy yourself some time. If we allow them to, if we don't push so hard on their rights, if we don't really protect those people as much, maybe they'll stop. Maybe they're not going to continue after that. And I think that if you saw what the Trump administration did in its first term with regards to targeting trans people first, and then towards the end, going after the rights of LGBTQ people writ large, it tells you that whatever bargaining you think you're going to do that is going to benefit the people that you serve is ultimately going to pay off. It's not. I think the most important thing here on this particular point is that they are going to be paying attention to how movement overall responds to the targeting of immigrants and the targeting of trans people. And to the degree that there is not a response that they believe is going to be worthy of them having second thoughts, they will then use the lessons from those targetings to move on to other groups of people that are part of the coalition. And one of the ways that you can see that is what happened in the closing days of the campaign. When the Trump campaign dropped $60 million of anti-trans ads in the battleground states, there was no effective response from the Democratic Party to those ads. So then for the rest of the month, the Trump campaign dropped 3 times as much money. $215 million is the final tally in anti-trans ads that was told by Ad Impact earlier this week. And so what happened is that you signaled a vulnerability for a group of people that went unanswered, that they then decided was a weak point that could then be used to undermine the entire project of saving democracy. And so I think that the whole point here is to not divorce the attacks that are happening on trans people from what is happening to the rest of the community. And that part of the reason why we are here is because that's happened too much. And that's how we have arrived at this point. I would say in closing the following, which is find out who the local trans organizations are in your community and figure out how you can help and build solidarity. I think secondly is find out, uplift, listen to the trans people that are in your own organizations and do the same. The third thing that I would say, and this is something that actually Mo and I have spoken about, which is that we have to get serious about narrative in progressive spaces. And I don't mean narrative in terms of like everyone saying, I want to do narrative change for my organization to get my message out. That's great. Everyone should be doing that. That's an important part of your work. I am talking about thinking about an entire narrative infrastructure for progressive causes and for human rights causes, and also actually funding the existing narrative change organizations and journalism organizations that do exist within our spaces in order to be able to create what is necessary for social change. Because if you are trying to drive social change in America with just organizing and not narrative change, it's like trying to fly a plane with one wing. So all of this means that there's a tremendous amount of work to do, and that what's ahead for trans people and the experience of trans people in our communities informs a lot about how we got here and how to avoid the worst from happening.
Amara Jones, y'all, coming with facts, coming with data, coming with calls to action. I want to make sure you don't forget to subscribe to the Anti-Trans Hate Machine podcast and make sure you follow those 3 steps. Find out who the local organizations are that are led by trans folks. Get involved with them, support and amplify their work, and let's get serious about the business of building narrative infrastructure for our power building work. All right, Mel, I'm going to go to you next. I mean, you spend like every waking moment helping to support the organizing efforts of young people that are fighting for education justice, that are fighting for LGBTQ liberation. Tell me what y'all are seeing, feeling, and hearing on the ground post the election, what our folks should know, and what we should be doing to support it.
Absolutely. And I'm so happy to be with y'all tonight. It is late and we are here, and I can't actually think of a better place to be, a better thing to do. I like second to this is sleep, but first, even above sleep, is being here with y'all right now. So it is like my honor and my pleasure to be here with my people. So thank you for holding this space. I am a longtime WFP dues paying member. And so it feels good to show up with my party for my party. I want to remind us what John Dewey said. He said that democracy is born anew every generation, and education is its midwife. And so the work that I do with dozens and hundreds and thousands of people who are both national and on the ground all over this country, mainly in the South, mainly in the Midwest, is to understand that it is our job to build an education system where not only none of our children are pushed out or let slip through the cracks, but that actually we understand that any kid lost to this education system is a foreclosure on the future of our democracy, and we refuse, right? So I am again pleased to be in this moment, in this fight with you all. I want us to understand that we're in a daunting moment, right? At the threshold of a time that will require of us what no other time has before in living collective memory. And you should rest assured that we understand the assignment, that our young people understand the assignment, that we will never stop supporting every single LGBTQ plus young person in every single school, in every single room where learning is supposed to be happening. That's our room. Those are our kids. And particularly and specifically, those most targeted by the hateful agenda outlined in Project 2025, right? We know that it is our trans and non-binary and intersex youth. We know that it is our BIPOC young people, our youth with disabilities, those who are unhoused, those who are undocumented, and those who come from families and communities who have historically experienced marginalization that are in the crosshairs. And we understand that leadership is showing up to the fight despite the crosshairs, and that's what we do. So I just want to hold for a second that we are in a slingshot moment, right? It is 30% of Gen Z identifies as something besides cisgender and straight. What we also know is that the growing majority of our young people are Black and brown. And while we know that demography is not destiny, we saw that in this election, what we also know is that these young people know who they are, and they are not the queerest young people to ever have been. They are the queerest young people on record because they are refusing to fit themselves into boxes. They are refusing to say, you know what, actually, maybe I'm not gay. They're refusing to do that. And we stand the children and always will. And so we are here to follow them, right? So at my organization, what we do is we focus on educating, we focus on activating, and we focus on organizing. And we know that it is both the ways in which we fight and build for organizations and institutions to hold and see the brilliance of each and every one of our young people. It is their future. It is their wholeness that we defend. They know their wholeness, and so do we. And I just want to remind us that the kids are looking at us. They're looking at us. They're scared. We're scared. They're scared. We've got the time and resources to be on a call with our besties all night long. They've got school in the morning, and they have to go into a classroom where every single classroom is a front of this culture war. Every single educator who holds a critical social function, right, to birth, to midwife the next generation of our democracy. Every single teacher is faced with that choice every single day. Do they stand up for democracy? Do they honor the brilliance and beauty and light in the children they see in front of them? Or do they make sure they can keep their jobs? That's an impossible choice for us to put regular working people in every single day. And we have to have their backs, right? My president, Becky Pringle, was on the call earlier from the NEA. And so we have to make sure that we're showing up for the educators who are holding space for our young people. We have to also show up for the educators who are not. We have to let them know that we're not going to let them mistreat our children. So here's what I'm going to ask all of y'all to do. because the children are looking at us. I'm going to ask you all to go to glisten.org/riseup. That's GLSEN.org/riseup. I want y'all to take the pledge. Take the pledge to stand up for LGBTQ plus young people. Take the pledge to be a beacon of light and support in a community where they may not be supported at home, they may not be supported at school. And I don't think the kids walk anymore, but if they were to walk through your neighborhood, I hope that they would see the lawn signs. I hope they would see your t-shirt. I hope they would see your bumper sticker saying that I rise up for LGBTQ plus youth. And just to echo what my sibling and sister and boss, Amara Jones, said, right, is that they are going to come after our community first. They're going to come after immigrant communities, and they're going to come after trans, non-binary, intersex, queer communities first, because they're going to see what y'all let them do to us. Don't let them see this as a win. Don't let them pick us off, because again, we are a representation of our wholeness and our beauty as a community. Our children are the representation of the wholeness that has arrived here and is ready to wreck shit, right? And so let us be their protectors, let us be their champions, let them see us rising up for them. So again, that's glisten.org/riseup. Sign the pledge. You'll see the map that has a pin of every single person that's taken this pledge all over the country. Please do it. We saw Raskin on this call early. We saw Jayapal on this call earlier. They are champions for us and for our young people. Almost Vice President Tim Walz, Governor of Minnesota Tim Walz, the Rise Up governor for us. He's one of 12 governors who have said that they are going to make their states sanctuaries for our children. So join us, join the fight, and we'll see you on the other side. Let's go.
Listen.org/rise up. We need your face in the place. Mel, thank you for leading us. Thank you for loving our babies. Thank you for holding us accountable to showing up for them. We see you. We love you. Thank you. All right. Kelly, beloved, you on the front lines. Tell me what Human Rights Campaign is seeing and feeling post the election, what your members, what your base is feeling, hearing, seeing, experiencing, what we should know about it, and how we can throw down with y'all.
For sure. And grateful to be here with everybody. This is what gives me hope. Look, it's like Mel just said, the future that Donald Trump and JD Vance are afraid of is already here. The babies are queer, okay? And I think that's why you're seeing them be so aggressive and not only trying to roll back our rights, but to erase us because they are afraid of our inherent power that we bring. I mean, when we think about this administration, they don't just want to roll back our rights. They want to eliminate us from public life. I'm talking about rigging the courts even more than they already are, erasing trans people's ability to exist in public, legalizing discrimination, and more. We got to make sure that when we show up, we got to show up for all of us and not some of us. Because again, if they win in rolling back our rights and defeating any of our communities, particularly our trans community and immigrant communities, they will use those lessons to come for all of us. So the imperative is clear. The other thing is that we got to be clear. The people we're organizing against don't just have R behind their name, boo-boo. Look, what we're seeing right now with some of our allies trying to figure out who to scapegoat during this election, it cannot be allowed or tolerated. We cannot allow them to try to throw people of color and trans folks under the bus for the outcomes of the election. Because one thing I'm clear about is we wouldn't have gotten the historic wins that we did get if it wasn't for the full LGBTQ plus community showing up and showing up together. And I mean all of us, the L, the G, the B, and the T together. That's how we got to 84% of LGBTQ plus voters showed up and showed out for Kamala Harris. Only second to Black women in terms of constituency turnout. That's how we got to historic wins like Sarah McBride being the first trans woman in Congress, Julie Johnson, the first out LGBTQ plus person from the South, Emily Randall, the first out Latina lesbian. This stuff didn't happen by accident. It happened because we showed up. So we have to continue doing that. And the last thing I want to say is in moments like this, we have to remember that we are not without hope and we are certainly not without power. I know that this loss at the top of the ticket hurt, but what I also saw with 70 million people that did not vote for Donald Trump, 70 million people that voted for Kamala Harris and voted more importantly for a new way forward. They voted for freedom and for equality and for dignity and for our families and for our dreams. And that number, it's not just a number. It is the foundation for our revolution that we are going to make. It's a hell of a base to start from organizing from. So today I feel like, equality is delayed, but not denied, my friends. And we have to continue that work and continue it together. And the Human Rights Campaign is here to do it.
Kelly, we love you. Thank you for lighting a fire under us and getting us going and reminding us that we actually out here building power, that delayed is not denied. And we've got miles to go before we sleep, but we are committed to doing the work. Y'all give it up one time for Kelly Robinson and the Human Rights Campaign. Rachel, I want to bring you up next. Women's March has been putting in work. Tell me what your members, what your base is feeling, seeing, and hearing on the ground right now post-election. Tell us how we can support your work, what's going on, where do we stand?
Thank you so much for having me. And also shout out to the folks still here 3+ hours in. Just want to say it's everyday people who show up and who stick it out and who raise their hands when there's work to be done, who make history. So just shout out to everybody here. And I want to start my words today with a quote from Greta Thunberg, which is saying that hope is telling the truth. Hope is taking action, and hope always comes from the people. So I just wanted to ground us in where I'm coming from and the what I'm holding in this moment. Again, my name is Rachel O'Leary Carmona. I'm the executive director of Women's March. And since our inception, we've organized about 15,000 actions and moved tens of millions into action through the streets and to political homes all across the country. I am super honored to be here with so many brilliant and principled leaders who are making meaning of this extremely difficult moment. I also live in Texas, and the politics there has taught me that times don't get easier. We got to get tougher. So I'm really glad to be here with y'all as we're figuring out what that looks like in our new era. But I'm not here to talk about Texas. I'm here to talk about that hope from the people. And one of the things that's under attack in the Trump administration is street protest, which is in part due to the fact that he began his first term in the shadow of the 2017 Women's March, one of the largest single-day mobilizations in U.S. history. And of course, we know why he was upset. Not only did we deny him his law audience that he desperately desires at all times, like the court jester that he is, but we brought a message of visual of hope and defiance to the nation that ignited folks' civic imagination that lasted for a long time. And now it's time to reignite that, because each time we mobilize, including this past weekend when we had 15,000 folks hit the streets in DC alone, we demonstrate that hope is telling the truth. Hope is taking action, and hope does come from the people. So guess what? It's time to do it again. And to paraphrase our modern day philosopher, Glorilla, we be really marching. And on Inauguration Day, we're going to hit the streets in DC and nationwide for our freedoms, our families, and our future. And another poet laureate of the United States, Kendrick Lamar, told us that sometimes you got to pop out and show your opposition who and what you are. And so on January 18th, 2025, our people, our movement, our communities, we're all going to pop out all over the country and show MAGA. And most importantly, we are going to remind ourselves that we are unafraid, we are undeterred, and that we will protect and defend each other and our future. We will, in fact, tell the truth. In fact, we will take action, and we will cultivate the hope that our people need to bring about the future that we deserve. You want to get in where you fit in? Text together at 44310 to join us in the streets. And shout out to Ash, 3.5 hours. Like, shout out to
Y'all
Ash.
are real MVPs. Y'all are real MVPs. I'm so grateful to be one in the number of the thousands of people that are still on this call 3 hours in. I see you. I love you, Rachel. Shout out to you in the Women's March. Thank you for all of your effort. Thank you for all of your love. Thank you for all of your discipline and rigor out here in these streets. Y'all heard my homie tell y'all to text together to 44310. Make sure that your face is in the place on January 18th. We about to show them better than we can tell them, comrades. All right, now listen. We got a couple more speakers, and then I'm going to take it home. But before we do that, I've got to give you another announcement. We are at 97 events already posted. Again, I asked you to fill out the interest form on weareworthfightingfor.org, and you all have done that. We sent you information about the trainings. We sent you other resources. We're going to keep following up with information from each of these organizations and the calls to actions that you've heard, but I asked you to just do that. You've gone beyond that and already committed to throwing down in 97 events across this country. We're so close to 100. So I'm going to ask 3 of the thousands of people that are still on this call, speakers included, organizations that co-sponsored included. I'm going to ask you to take your phone out or go on your laptop. I'm going to ask you to go to the link at the bottom of your screen, weareworthfightingfor.org. And I'm going to ask you to sign up to express your interest so we can get you the info that you need so that then you can follow up and commit to hosting a We Are Worth Fighting For community meeting, a community gathering. If we get 3 more before the call is over, 3 more tonight, we'll hit 100 posted events. I want to shout out some folks that have already done it. Give it up one time for Bull City. Shout out to Durham, North Carolina for being on the right side of history. I want to shout out Seattle, Washington. Huntington Beach, California is in the building. Stony Brook, New York. I want to shout out, who hasn't been called out yet? I think I called out Philly. Philly's always doing the damn thing. The People's Republic of Brooklyn, New York has signed up for an event. Indian Land, South Carolina, we see you. Walla Walla, Washington is on the map. Boston is on the map. Bangor, Maine is on the map. We got Rochester. We got Houston, Texas. I know we got a bunch of Texans on the call, so I got to shout out the Texas places. Y'all, we got so many folks that are saying they're going to throw down across the United States. There's way too many of them to announce. St. Paul, Minnesota is on the map. San Antonio, Texas is on the map. Y'all are throwing down. Can we get 3 more and make it to 100 posted events? I also want to shout out that we've got almost 700 people signed up for tomorrow's training. It's at 2 p.m. Eastern tomorrow. And again, if you go to weareworthfightingfor.org and go to the top of the page, you can express your interest and get the information to sign up for the training there. And 7,500 people have shown their interest in hosting one of these gatherings. All right, y'all are already doing it. We're now to 98 events. We only need 2 more events to hit 100 before the end of this call, before the end of this. We're at 99. We're 1 away from hitting 100. Well, we're waiting on that 1 more person to make a commitment to hosting a We Are Worth Fighting For community gathering. I want to bring up our next speaker. Y'all know him because he's the people's pastor. He's been throwing around all this incredible knowledge and getting us mobilized to express ourselves and our commitment to democracy, our commitment to our people, our commitment to racial justice, and not skirting around the fact that some of us are still heavily involved in faith practices, whatever that faith may be. I want to bring up my friend, my colleague, the people's pastor, Pastor Michael McBride. He is the national director of Black Church PAC. What's up, Pastor Mike?
Yo, Ash, what it do? Do you know you somebody to get Pastor Mike out of his sackcloth and ashes?
I love you, man. Thank you so much.
Nah, it's all good. Listen, I won't be long, but I've been reflecting over this passage the last few days, and it simply says this: for everything there is a season, a time for every matter under heaven, a time to be born, a time to die, a time to plant, a time to pluck up what is planted, a time to kill, a time to heal, a time to break down, a time to build up, a time to weep, and a time to laugh, a time to mourn, and a time to dance, a time to throw away stones, and a time to gather stones together, a time to embrace, a time to refrain from embracing, a time to seek, and a time to lose, a time to keep, and a time to throw away, a time to tear, a time to sow, a time to keep silent, a time to speak, a time to love, and a time to hate, a time for war, and a time for peace. I was in Detroit, Michigan ever since the weekend, helping us to get all of our souls to the polls. And I left sunny California with my jean jacket on, and I got off the plane. And in Detroit, I was reminded I was not in California anymore. I was not in the season of Cali winter. I was in the season of Detroit winter. And it dawned on me that for every season that begins, even if it is winter, we have the confidence that that season will also end. And if you don't have on the right clothes, you could be wearing the wrong clothes in the wrong season. And so my commitment to all of us who are people of faith, who are people of no faith, people of goodwill, people who love faith and justice, is to remind ourselves that we are now in a season that we may not have much familiarity with, but we know that every beginning of a season has an end. We can go into this season with the confidence knowing that this season will end. And what will we have on to ensure that we will endure this season? Don't wear a windbreaker into this season. It's time to shore up. It's time to get out your mink coat because we're about to go into a winter season. But we will make it through this season. What can you do in the season? Well, this passage gave you all kind of recommendations of what to do in the season. There are going to be some new babies born in this season. Even though it's a wintry season, there are going to be some babies born. There are going to be some folks we lose in this season. Even though it's a hard season, there's going to be some time to love in this season. There's going to be a time to heal in the season. There's going to be some times to kill and some times to mourn. We're going to keep dancing in the season. We're going to keep throwing away stones and rebuilding. Whatever you do, make a decision. What will you do with this season? The scripture, the prophet reminds us that in every season, this is what God requires of us: to do justice in every season, to love mercy in every season, and to walk humbly with the Most High. Beloved, I do not believe we wrestle against flesh and blood. I believe we are wrestling against principalities, powers, wickedness, systems, and every wrestling match we have with systems, when we hold on to our faith, our practices, our people, systems fall, people survive, empires fall, the land survives, emperors fall, and justice always maintains. And so I hope that we be encouraged in this season. I hope we sign up. I hope we turn out. I hope we turn up. Whatever you do, put on your clothes, get geared up. We going into a new season, but we still have victory. We still have power. We will suffer no defeat. God bless y'all. Peace.
My people told me victory is mine. Victory is mine. Victory today is mine. I told Donald Trump and all of his ilk, get thee behind. Victory today is mine. It's a new season. The good pastor Mike McBride told us we need to layer up. Let's get to the work, y'all. We got to wrap this thing on up before midnight. So the best way I could think to do that is to bring some of the most audacious, some of the most bold, some of the bravest, most courageous organizing that I've ever seen in my 39 years of living to the forefront to close us out. A movement that is rooted in making sure that we protect the people, the planet, all beings, folks that are literally throwing down, young people that are throwing down. And in the same way that we wanted to bring our auntie Judith LeBlanc at the top of the call, I think it's critical that we bring Aru, the executive director of the Sunrise Movement, to the stage to close us out. Comrade, I'm tossing it to you. Tell us what time it is and how we can be supporting the work that y'all are doing post-election.
Thank you. Thank you. Hey, y'all. My name is Aru Shania. I'm the executive director of the Sunrise Movement. We are a youth movement to stop the climate crisis, and I'm also proud to call myself a member of the Working Families Party. Donald Trump has been on the ballot for me in every single presidential election that I have been old enough to vote in. That is the generation that I was in, and I am damn ready to kick him and the far-right MAGA coalition out of politics forever. There's really no question that Trump would be utterly devastating for our planet. His climate policy is just drill, baby, drill. His presidency means that we're going to blow past 1.5 degrees of warming, which means we're going to face major ecological collapse, unlike anything that humanity has ever seen. And on election night, I was so struck by grief and by anger that my future and the future of my generation and every generation after mine was being stolen away by a con man of a politician. And I don't say this to push us into despair or defeat. I say it because I think it's really important that we understand the stakes of the next 6 years, the next 4 years and 6 years to stop the climate crisis. It's really important because we are going to need everything that we have in us to fight Donald Trump, to stop him from enacting the worst parts of his agenda, and to make sure that come 2028, we are not only able to kick him out of office, but we are able to usher in a new political era with an economy that works for all people, a democracy that functions, and a future that we can look forward to. Climate is such a major issue for young people, but the truth is I talked to so many people on the doors this election, just couldn't believe that either party could fight for them. I talked to people who were talking about economy and climate as the top issues, but were still voting for Trump, people who just weren't going to vote at all. And I tried to convince many of them, but some of them just weren't convinced. And one thing I'm really taking away is that in order to counter fascism, we need to provide a real vision for Gen Z and for our generation. And climate is a really key part of how we actually peel young voters off of the MAGA coalition. So how are we actually going to do that? Well, Sunrise is working towards a new era where we lean into mass waves of student strikes. Young people have always been on the front lines standing up against authoritarianism. If Donald Trump oversteps his authority, if he burns away our planet, we are ready to lead waves of mass civil disobedience like this country has never seen. So if you're a student listening to this right now, if you are a parent of a student, if you're a teacher, if you know a student, if a student works at the coffee shop that you go to, I am going to say go to smvmt.org/walkout. That's WALKOUT. And fill out that form if you're a student. Send that form around to every student in your life. Because what we're trying to do right now is make clear that our generation will not stand for our planet being burned away. Our generation will stand up for our futures. We'll stand up for our democracy. We'll stand up for our rights. Send it around. We have 80 walkouts planned tomorrow, and we're planning to go again next week, next Friday, at an even bigger scale. I don't want to keep us too long, so I think I want to leave us with this. The next few years, I'm not going to tell us they're going to be easy. I think they're going to require us to search within ourselves for the depths of our courage and our love and our kindness and our solidarity. But when I see how many people chose to get on this call and stay on for 4 hours, how many people are activated right now, how many texts I am getting from my friends and family just saying they want to do something, I have so much hope. Sunrise was founded during the first Trump administration, and the reason that we're called Sunrise is because we believe that even in the darkest of times, light will return. And I truly believe that shoulder to shoulder, we can not only defeat Trump and defend our democracy, but actually usher in a new political era where everyone has a life filled with dignity, respect, and hope. Pass it back to you, Ash.
Can we give it up one time for Aru and the Sunrise Movement? Aru, can you give us that link to the walkout sign up one more time?
Yes, it's smvmt.org/WALKOUT.
Thank you so much, y'all. I saw videos of young people walking out today. Like, our folks are already moving. Thank you to Sunrise. Thank you, Aru, for your leadership. We love you. Let's take it home, y'all. So I want to remind you that we have another call planned on November 13th at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We're going to make sure you have the link on our Mobilize page for that call and all the other calls that we're planning. I want you to text Mass Call, MASS space CALL to 30403 to stay in touch with us about that. I also want to remind you that I made a request. I made a request that we get to 100 events. Comrades, we are at 101 posted events all across the United States with people that have made a commitment to hosting a We Are Worth Fighting For gathering in your community. Thank y'all so much for meeting and exceeding expectations tonight, both in your registration. Y'all, we got, I'm looking at the numbers right now. We've almost hit the 700 people signed up for training mark for 2 p.m. tomorrow, 2 p.m. Eastern tomorrow. So go ahead, keep sharing it out. Make sure our people know. Post the weareworthfightingfor.org website all over social media, all over your websites. Pass the word on. Put it in your group chats. Make sure our folks sign up. And y'all, 7,500 people have expressed interest in the We Are Worth Fighting For community gatherings. Thank y'all so much. Remember, you can go to www.weareworthfightingfor.org. Go to the top of the page to express your interest. You'll get follow-ups from us about trainings and other resources. You'll also find out about meetings going on for the many organizations that you've seen on this call and get plugged in directly with them. Go to that website that you see on your screen, www.weareworthfightingfor.org, and get plugged in. Beloveds, as we close, we can't tell ourselves any lies in this moment. What's coming next is going to be hard. It's going to be brutal. The lie that everybody's going to be okay is not true. And even more, we have to stick together. My heart hurts thinking about the impact that another 4 years of the Trump administration is going to have on the people that we love, on the communities we live in, on where we can live, on how we can love. But my heart is also filled with unbelievable amounts of love, immeasurable love for each and every one of you, for this beloved community. This isn't the first time that we face adversity, y'all. This isn't the first time that we face challenge or hardship or even the threat of an authoritarian, fascistic dictatorship in this country. We've been in struggle for centuries to try to build an actual democracy that we can all feel, that we all can practice. We have that struggle printed on our souls. It guides our way like the North Star to freedom. I'm so grateful to each and every one of you who took time out of your busy schedules to join this call, especially all of the thousands of y'all that stayed on, and it's damn near midnight. I want to thank all the co-sponsoring organizations, all the folks who made this call possible, from design to tech to production to wrangling speakers to the speakers and more. Thank you to Ag TV and Free Speech TV. And thank you to each and every single one of you that did not regard it robbery to spend some time with us tonight, whether you watched on Facebook, whether you watched on YouTube, if you watched on our website, or you watched on Free Speech TV. We see you, we love you, we respect you, and we want you to be free. We hope to see you on the next one. Stay safe, stay grounded, and stay together out there. We love you. Good night.